Okay, we are live.
Awesome.
Yay. Hi, everybody. Come on in. Get yourself some coffee. Get cozy.
Yes, make yourself comfortable. I moved my comfy chair upstairs so I'm like sitting cross-legged on my comfy chair.
Perfect. Okay, it looks like everything's working. People are coming in.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody. Okay. Hi, yay, the chat's working. Hi, Kaylee.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Hi, Alicia. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Shayla. Got all these like super cute names. Hi,
I know,
Autumn.
Right? This is why I love working with women because like it's just cute. I love the colors and everything.
And our presentation is all very like trendy, color coded with colors. It's just going to be a super fun time. Yeah. Hi, guys. Hi, Elvia, Naomi, Carrie, Eden, Catherine. Oh, my goodness.
Look at all of you. Hello from New Jersey.
Like the chat is working.
Yay.
Are you in New York, really?
Yeah. I'm in upstate.
Okay. Did you know? Oh, you told me that. You told me that.
I was going to say, did I not ever tell you?
That was like almost a bad friend moment.
Tara, sorry. Kisses to you. I know who that is. Yeah, I'm in upstate. So we're like 2.5 hours from the city.
Okay, I'm coming to visit you because I don't know if you know, but New York City is probably my favorite place I've ever been to.
Awesome.
Which is probably kind of funny because it's dirty and people are mean, but I just like it.
Yeah, it's like everyone's
most
like
cluttered place I could possibly go.
It is.
Yeah, I always say like when everyone's grown and gone, like I'm gonna move to New York City and retire there and have like a buttload of cats.
Yeah,
my plan.
That's a great idea. Listen, I'm in upstate and I know people who have a buttload of cats here, so it happens. Fine.
That's the goal.
Oh.
Hi guys.
People from all over North Carolina. Oh my gosh. Canada, Ohio, Texas. Yay! I've never been to Texas.
Canada.
I want to go to Texas.
I liked Texas. We wanted to move there and we like went there to move there and it just like it did not work out as much as we wanted it to, but I really liked it.
Yeah, I really want to go there.
Hello from London.
London?
This is so cool.
It's already nighttime. Nighttime there.
She's committed.
That is commitment.
London again, Philadelphia, Idaho.
Nice.
You guys, I am traveling full-time in a camper. Look at all these places I need to come and meet you all. Right. I want to come to each of these places. That's so cool.
Slovakia? Somebody's watching from Slovakia.
Get out. That's amazing.
Buffalo. Hey, I'm over here by Albany. So whoever said they were in Western New York. Yeah, I'm in Eastern New York. So I'm near Saratoga for all those people that said that they were in Western New York.
Yay.
Oh gosh,
okay, so Florida. I'm going there in like 3 weeks. So
what? Where are you going in Florida?
Clearwater Beach. My best friend since I was 7 years old married a Coast Guard guy, and they are stationed there, and we're gonna go visit for like 3 weeks.
That's awesome. We're taking the kids to Disney World in December, so
I don't know if we're gonna do it because we have Disneyland passes. Like, they don't like even give you a discount or anything. Like
that's ridiculous.
I know. I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
We go all the time.
Right.
It's way better, but I don't know. Okay. So guys, tell us if there's any issues, like if anything sounds weird or you hear an echo or anything. And if there's multiple people, then we'll fix it. But if you as a person are having any tech issues, maybe switch browsers. I feel like this platform does really, really well with Chrome or Firefox.
Yep.
So for those of you who are here and can hear us and see us, that is the information that we would so appreciate if you would share in the chat box for anybody who's like, I can't see or hear, I can't get in.
Yeah.
It's probably on their end. So yeah. Okay.
So someone just asked how long the webinar will be. So usually the teaching part is about like 45 minutes or so to an hour, but then we're doing Q&A too. So
it depends on what you want.
Yeah.
we are moms. We know your moms.
Yeah.
We did this for you guys. So we were really mindful of making it very valuable and worth your time and like a real class. Like this is a legit class we're teaching here. But also like getting to the point and then like helping you like with whatever like you need to do after to take action on what we teach you and sticking around for Q&A for those who do have the time. And this is what we do. So we created a big block of time for us, but for you guys, like the class is about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get started. We have put together some slides for this presentation just because there was so much info, and Kendra and I both just really felt like we didn't want it to be distracting. Like it can just be kind of distracting to be looking at us and like the background and just things like that. It helps us be more focused if there's like words and it's easier for you guys to take notes. There's going to be an opportunity for you guys to get the replay and the slides of this class for later. And we wanted that to be like very easy to follow and there's notes involved. So it's just better all the way around if we have the slides. But I just want you guys to like, we don't want it to feel like stiff or like, you know, like we're not here. So that's why we start with our faces and end with our faces, but there's slides to help you take notes during. So remember, after we teach, we'll teach you guys a class here, and then there's going to be a Q&A, and we'll really just stick around, I mean, as long as we can to answer as many questions as we can.
Allie, someone's saying in the chat, mine still says presenter hasn't started yet. Am I missing it? I just want to make sure. Can you guys hear us? Can everyone hear us? Because I want to make sure that it's just one person, that sometimes they have to refresh their browser. So just let us know in the chat. Like I'm talking right now, there's sometimes a little bit of a delay, but just let us know if you can hear us.
Yeah,
you can see.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Okay.
So sometimes you have to like just refresh your browser, and that's like, okay, awesome, cool. That just, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, we're not talking to no one, are we?
Yeah, no, that would suck. No, we're good.
Yes, it's happened. Sometimes people just have to like refresh and then it, you know.
Yeah. If anyone else has problems from here on out, now that we have proof that everything's good, it's totally on their end.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started. We are just going to get right into it. Yeah, let me just get the slides up. And okay, so I'm going to screen share with you guys. So hold up. Okay, and then let's go over here. And then Kendra, just let me, wow, that's not what I wanted to do. Just let me know if it like looks fine when it comes up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Okay, so Kendra, I don't have the chat up anymore, so you just let me know if there's anything I need to know.
You got it.
Okay, guys, here we go. Rock Your Mom Life. We are so excited. Like we have put like weeks and weeks into this, like just so many hours, so many chat times. We covered everything we could in 45 minutes for you guys. So I'm really excited. Okay, so just a quick reminder, this is your time. I know you guys are all moms. You all have at least one kid. Most of you have a lot more, and this is such a special time, okay? So I just want you guys to know, I know mom life is crazy and chaotic, and I remember those times of trying to do something for myself with kids everywhere and you know, all that. But if at all possible, like just eliminate the other things, like get your kids busy in front of a little show or something and treat yourself to some quiet time. Silence your cell phone. Don't be browsing on social media. Like get ready to take notes, because we are legit going to drop some truth bombs on you guys and really inspire you. That's my hope, and that was our plan. So you showed up, you're here, you're watching this, you can see and hear me. And so let's make the best out of this time that you set aside and actually get something out of it. Okay, so before we start, I just want to make sure that everybody here is who should be here, and there's been no misunderstandings about what this is for and who this is for. So you are in the right place at this workshop if you are feeling overwhelmed by the clutter in your home. Also, if you feel like there just aren't enough hours in your day, like just every day, it just feels like there's never enough time. You can never actually get everything crossed off your to-do list. Speaking of to-do lists, your to-do list never seem to get any shorter, and it just kind of feels like, okay, I can't even check things off before I'm adding more. If you've identified yourself on more than a few occasions as a hot mess mom, I just love that we ordered it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Kendra, I don't know if you want to or not, but I think it might bounce back and forth. So I don't know if you want to mute your mic until you're speaking or like I didn't really think about that beforehand. But do what you will with that.
Yeah.
You can also pull up the slides, whatever you want to do.
I figured out where the mute is. Yeah,
okay, cool. Do that. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna start with introducing ourselves. I'm Allie. I know most of you guys probably know, but just a little brief summary for those who don't. I started my blog back in 2011, and it has turned into a global mom life changing, reshaping movement since last year. I realized that there was a message that I had. I felt like I had stumbled upon this big secret of how motherhood could be amazing and different and refreshed. And people were just wanting to hear more and more and more about it. So instead of using it as just a hobby and something I did at night before my husband came home from work, I turned it into something bigger and started really working to grow it. It is global now. It's big. It's changing the way that women view motherhood, and that is my goal. That is my passion. If you've been around my site for more than 2 seconds, I hope that you see that and know that. You guys are so my heart. I am an author. I have written and published my own book and currently have a book deal for a new one. I'm an intentional living coach for overwhelmed moms and an inspirational speaker. I love going around the country and speaking at different events and getting in front of my people face to face. So take a good long look at this photo of me, because the next one is not so great. And I'm just showing it to you, as embarrassing as it is, to prove a point of where you can just see it on my face in a second, like where I was in my life about 5 years ago. All right, here it goes, guys. Don't judge. Don't judge. This was me about 6 years ago, 5-ish years ago. I was very unhealthy. I was struggling very badly with depression. I do not even look like the same person. I realize that. I'm not made for a short haircut. But aside from that, this is the place that I was in my life at this time. I was very, very overwhelmed. I had 3 of my 4 kids at the time. I was feeling like I was just waking up every day already too tired to do what I needed to do for the day that I just woke up for. And I know that a lot of you guys might relate to that. And please, feel free to share in the chat box and encourage each other as I talk, and don't feel like you have to just sit here and stare at this awful picture and listen. But I was just not doing well. I was not taking care of myself. I felt like literally all I did was fill sippy cups, change diapers, and clean up my freaking house. And it never was clean. It never was caught up. And I had wanted to marry my husband and be a mom my whole life. And here I was, living my dream life. And I just felt like I couldn't even enjoy it. I became this mom who yelled, who was always stressed out. I did the whole, my husband would come home at the end of the night after working a super long shift. He worked like 90 hours a week at the time, and just complained to him about how he never helped me. And I was so overwhelmed. And, what do you think I've been doing all day? I know everything is messy still, but I was doing this all day. I don't know what else to do. And, I was just very unhappy, and it affected my relationships. It affected my physical health and my weight and my mentality. And I was very caught in depression. And I ended up staying there for a while. And I had this one day where, and bear with me, guys, if you've heard this story a million times, but it is my story, so I have to share it. I had this day where things were just really bad. And I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I was yelling at my kids and just really stressed out. And I felt like I was never able to catch up. I could not enjoy my motherhood. And I knew that I was called to more. I believe in John 10:10 that I was called to live an abundant life. And I was not feeling that. And so I knew, okay, if this is what I'm called to, and this is where I'm at right now, and this is where my life is at right now, then what is missing here? God, what am I doing wrong? Show me what I'm doing wrong so I can change it. And there was this one truly terrible day that I ended up locking myself in my bathroom and just sitting on the floor and crying and just praying and crying and saying, what do I do here? What is wrong? And there was this moment that really reshaped the way that everything went from here on out, where I just felt like to something that I did not expect. And that was like, what exactly, think about your day. Like, what exactly are you spending all your time doing? And I knew the answer right away. It's cleaning. Like literally all I do is clean up all day, every day. It's relentless and it doesn't even seem to be helping. And I kind of felt like he pressed my thoughts a little further, like, well, cleaning up what? And I remember sitting there kind of thinking about it and I couldn't really come up with anything specific. And I actually remember saying out loud, it's just stuff. There's just so much stuff and I don't even feel like we need it. And that was kind of the minute where, not kind of, that was the minute where it was really the only time I've had a true like epiphany. And in that minute, I knew exactly what I needed to do. Something clicked, it made sense. And I had this idea of what if I were to just let go of all excess? What would happen? And I was desperate enough to try it. So I got up, wiped my face, I made dinner, finished the day, got the kids to bed early, and I went straight downstairs into my toy room, which was the bane of my existence at this point. It was one of those big open rooms. It was supposed to be our dining room, but we had turned it into a playroom. It was full of bins, full of toys, overflowing with all these shelves of books and toys and Legos and Barbie dolls and all of these big explosion of toys every day. The kids weren't even playing in there. They would wander in, dump everything out, and come out 5 minutes later saying they wanted a snack. Like it wasn't even serving a purpose. And I knew that. And so I looked at that room and said like, okay, this is not purposeful. Like what can change here? And I got rid of everything that I didn't feel lined up with my goals for my babies. I wanted my kids to have a very outdoorsy, adventurous, kind of vintage childhood. I had always felt a pull towards that. Yet here I was with all these loud light up toys that were doing all the imagining for them and sending them in there to play all day, and they weren't even doing it and just wasn't working. So I let go of all the toys that I didn't feel like lined up with what I wanted for my kids' childhood. Obviously, I wasn't left with much. There was some constructive play, imaginary play toys, and you know, they were like blocks and Hot Wheels and, you know, Legos and trains and tracks and things like that, like dress up clothes, you know, things that inspired my kids to use their imaginations and didn't like light up and the dolls that like actually poop and the kid takes care of them, like just the toys that like literally do everything for you. I got rid of all of those kind of loud distractions. And what ended up happening was my daughter was the oldest of a time, so I was worried she'd be upset, and she wasn't. She went in that room and was so happy I had cleaned up and found her favorite toys, and she and her brother played in there for 2 hours that day. And at the young ages they were at back then, that's incredible. It's incredible now. It's super incredible for back then. And so I knew I was onto something. I ended up researching, by the way, kids play so much better when there's less options to pick from. So that's kind of what happened there from a scientific standpoint. But I realized that there was something to this. So I went through the rest of my house. I did my laundry and my dishes and the closets and the linens and my wardrobe and my kids' wardrobes and every area. And I felt so much lighter. It was an immediate thing before I even went through the rest of my house. This feeling was immediate, but it continued. My load continued to lighten drastically as I worked through the rest of my house. And this is just some photos of what my life is like now. My kids play outside every single day. I would confidently tell you that about 90% of their day is spent outside. And that's not because we have a cool life and we travel full time and we live in a camper. This was like this before when we had our normal, you know, house and the 9-to-5 job and all of that. Ever since that day, it has been like this. Sorry, there's a train going by, so it gets loud every once in a while. But I lost weight. My depression lifted and never came back. I look at the picture in the bottom right. That's my baby boy, Emmett. This is the house that we had before. I never felt like I had to clean or maintain. It was so bare minimum, maybe 30 minutes a day at the end of the day, just a general household cleanup, plus like a deep clean once a week for, you know, the baseboards and the bathrooms and stuff like that. And that's it. It no longer consumed my time and my days. Everything changed. My marriage improved because when you're not so stressed out and you're not stretched thin like saran wrap over a casserole, like every day, where like one little thing pokes you and you're ripped and you're freaking out. And that's how I felt every day. That wasn't there anymore. And when you remove yourself from that and you lighten your load, it affects your relationships in a very, very deep way. I did not expect all the changes that came in my life from just one simple change. Everything lifted. We continue to implement minimalism into our calendars and our eating and our relationships and the way we ran our lives. And just from removing the excess, from simplifying, from getting intentional and clearing that clutter, my life completely changed. And so now that's why I'm writing books and blog posts and doing these workshops and creating videos and doing all this stuff in my business to spread this message of hope and light that I feel like nobody is talking about. Like there's this secret that I feel like I tripped over and found of motherhood does not have to be the way we talk about it so much with, oh, hashtag mom life. It's super difficult, but we all get through it if we just have a few more cups of coffee, and we kind of joke about it. But really, we get one shot at this, girls, one shot. And motherhood, raising our babies, is such a tiny blip of time in terms of our entire lives. And this is it. And I don't want to spend it cleaning up. I want to spend it living this life and enjoying my kids and being present, knowing that my to-do list is short enough where I can very easily spend the day sitting on the floor building Legos and homeschooling and adventuring and playing with my kids instead of shooing them away to go play. So guys, that's my story. That's my heart. I'm going to let Kendra take over. Kendra, I think the slides may disappear when you talk. So I don't know how you want to do that. I think it's totally fine. I just want you to share your story. So I'll switch over to your slides and you go ahead and share like your end of this before we get into the actual teaching.
Yeah, they'll disappear like for the people watching or for me.
I think for the people watching, when you talk, I think your face pops up.
Oh, well, hello there if it does. I didn't know that.
Me neither. I'm not sure, but just go with it.
Yeah, that's fine. So this is me. I'm Kendra. For those of you that don't know, I'm Kendra Hennessy. I just want to say quickly too, that I'm reading the chat while you were telling your story. And I just want to say how inspirational. I mean, I could start crying just reading some of these, how much your story is resonating with people. I think that that's just so important. And I want to thank everyone who's just shared in the chat and been vulnerable, because it takes a lot to be vulnerable like this with this many people, even in a chat box. So I just want to tell you how
I'm going to
wonderful.
pop over and check the chat too, because I want to read those. Thank you guys.
Liz, your license plate is Mom Boss. Get it, girl. I love that.
That's amazing.
Love it. So I'm Kendra Hennessy, and I run a business called Mother Like a Boss, but I didn't start out that way. So I actually started in business we're going on 11 years ago now. I started a cleaning business when I was 22, had just dropped out of college, was unmarried and pregnant. So awesome. I mean, really, can you get any better than that? It was like my mom's best dream, really. But what happened was I had gone to college and I just kind of felt like what I was going for was just not working for me. And through some kind of a long-winded thing, I ended up working for someone else in a cleaning business. She got sick. I took over, realized I loved it, realized I loved business. I loved cleaning. And so I ran that business for 10 years until last year. It was very successful, but I felt a calling, sort of the way Ali was talking about, where I felt this pull towards something else. I can't scale my cleaning business. Like I can't reach people anywhere more than where I live. So there was just no way to do that. So the screen just changed, Ali. Is that okay? On my end, it just changed. I'm just making sure that's all right. Okay, sorry. It just all changed, so I got confused. All right, so yeah, I ran that business, and I realized that my heart was being kind of pulled in another direction, and I wanted to help moms, because most of my cleaning clients were moms. They were actually almost all moms, and I realized that they were actually more. It's still your face card. Okay, it's just on my end. I could see something, so I just want to be sure it was good. They were actually becoming really upset that I was not upset, but stressed that I was coming. They were like, oh my gosh, you're coming. And now I have to clean up the stuff. Sort of like Ali was talking about, where you actually have to clean before you clean because you have too much stuff. And I thought there really just kind of has to be a better way to teach moms. So I actually founded Mother Like a Boss so that I could give moms what I call homemakerish help. So I help the group of people that I call reluctant homemakers. So basically the moms that kind of describe themselves as, I know that I need to be doing this stuff in my home, like cleaning and organizing and all those things, but I'm just a little reluctant about it. So those are the kind of people that I help. And now I do that through strategy and coaching and some online courses. And so that's what I do now. So much like Allie, I have a before picture. It's not quite the same, but it does lend itself to a short story from the whole before scenario and then into after. So if Allie wants to show that. Oh, awesome. Okay. So this was me seconds after I had my son. All right. So that little cute girl right there is my daughter. She was 6 at the time, and I actually had a home birth. So I had my son at home on our couch. That's actually on my couch. That's my husband right there. It was, still is. And that was moments after having my son. So obviously we all look exhausted. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. I had been in labor. And the reason I'm showing this is not because like I look like a hot mess, because I deserve to look like a hot mess. I was just in labor. The point that I want to make with this is that that was the start for me of a downward spiral for a while. I went from feeling the highest I'd ever felt that day to the lowest I've ever felt in my life the next day. And part of that was definitely postpartum. But what happened was my whole routine and everything that I had been doing just sort of fell out of control. I had had a daughter for 6 years. She was our entire life. We had a very set routine. And then this baby comes along and it threw everything out of whack. I kind of didn't really know what to do. I was sad. I was upset. I cried a lot. And I kind of had these feelings of like, why did I have another baby? And then I felt super guilty because I'm looking at this tiny little boy who I love and adore. And I'm like, well, it's not his fault. And you know, what am I doing? And I just felt like my whole life was out of control. I started to fall into a lot of OCD. And I didn't even tell anyone. Like I fell into a lot of ritualistic tendencies with becoming obsessed over rituals. I mean, I'm talking obsessed. Like I wouldn't go to bed unless all of these things were done. And I just obsessed about it over and over again. So what happened was after a few months of that, like roller coaster ride, you cannot sustain that forever. I kind of realized that I needed to, much like Allie, simplify my life. And for me, it was less about stuff because I had owned a cleaning business and even did some organizing. So the stuff wasn't necessarily the problem for me. My problem were the systems and the routines. Like I literally had to reevaluate my life and start to put in some really solid systems and shift my mindset. So I actually talk a lot about mindset in my business, shifting your mindset, because all the strategies in the world are not going to work if you have a really crappy mindset about things, if you're negative, if you have low, if your confidence isn't great in yourself. So that was actually how I shifted everything. And then now I'm the same way as Allie. I have pictures of me now and my family and my kids and everything. And things are awesome. Like, not that things are perfect, because they are not even close to being perfect. I want to just let everybody know that, like, they're not perfect, but that's me and my beautiful family. I love them so much. My son is Everett. He's 4. My daughter is Ava. She's 10. They're the light of my life. And the reason, now these are all pictures, so everyone looks happy in pictures. No one takes pictures of themselves when they're like crying on the bathroom floor. We don't really do that. We should start doing that though, and make a book of that, of like crying on the bathroom floor, you know, a mom's memoir. But the point is that now I'm happier. I mean, I'm really happy because I have solid routines and systems in place in my house. And I've learned to embrace motherhood and not worry so much about the extra crap. I embrace it, and I actually learn to manage my house so I can enjoy my home. And so that's what I do for moms now, is I help them do the same. I help them dig a little bit deeper, pull up all the weeds and the garbage so they can plant beautiful flowers and have a lovely garden as their life. You guys are here because this is just we're gonna jump right into it now, and this is just gonna be great. I'm so excited. So I'm just looking in the chat. Oh my God, I would buy that book, right? It just needs to be like a culmination of moms taking pictures of themselves at their worst. Like right after you step in like poop on the floor or something because your kid didn't make it to the toilet, things like that, funny moments. Because I can get rid of most of my junk, but then get messed up and still feel stressed. Yes, totally understand that. Okay. I'm just looking in the chat, Allie, just to check everybody. Allie is just muted. That's why. We're just muting when the other one's talking so that it doesn't interrupt. Because what'll happen is if two people are talking, it'll bounce back and forth and it just looks like crazy. I need you here, Kendra. Oh, I'm here for you, girl. Okay, so I'd love for you guys to tell us in the chat box, why did you show up today? We'd love to know. So just take a minute or so and just tell us kind of why you're here today, like why you showed up. And let's read some. What was the reason when you saw this come across your Facebook or in your email? What was the thing that you said, hey, I need to totally sign up for this workshop and get this? Yeah, you just can't hear Allie because she's muted. That's all. Allie can unmute herself and talk. She will in a sec. Need a reboot. No, I can't hear you. No. Can you guys hear Allie? Let me see. Do you have the mute thing on? No, it's off. Okay, that's off. All right, I'm going to read some of your comments while Allie figures out sometimes just the microphone just doesn't work for some reason. We're going to figure it out. All right, I'm going to read a few. So because I can't seem to keep up with housework and feel super overwhelmed by the mess. Yep. Started decluttering and made good progress, but have stopped.
How about now?
Okay, good.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. It happens. It's like, I look at tech. I don't know about all you, like, don't you look at tech like motherhood? Like the one time you need your kids to be quiet is the one time they're not. That's how tech is. Like the one time you need it to work is the time it does.
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I was trying to get it to where, because they can't see the slides when you're talking. So I was trying to fix it and I messed everything up. So I think we should just let it go and just keep going.
That's okay.
I'll put them up when I'm talking.
Okay, cool. Great. So I'm just reading some of the reasons that people came here today. And there are some awesome ones. Like just had my child. I'm homeschooling. There's so much to declutter in my stepdaughter's life. Let's see.
Homeschoolers, like there's no way I could do it without like what we're going to teach you. So I'm ready now. I'm just going to get the slides back up and we will dive in.
Yeah, we're going to dive right into the teaching, guys. And I'm going to be just looking over these.
Okay, I'm ready.
Looking over the chat here. I'm always chasing stuff. Oh, I love that. Okay.
Ooh, all right, yeah, I like the way she said that.
Okay. I'm going to mute myself so you can go ahead and get your teaching on. Girls, you ready? Do you have a pen and paper? Because we are like diving in now. It is teaching time. So.
Okay. So here we go. I'm just going to kind of take over the teaching since the slides aren't working when Kendra talks, and I'll just prompt you to put in your parts. Okay. So why we just said why we came here today, and I love your guys' reasoning. Like, I just want you to know truly, like how much it resonates with me. I've got the comments pulled up here on my screen, and it's amazing. And I love that. So I'm so glad. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and when you register for the workshop, you saw what we were going to be going over. The first point is getting your mind right. And we're going to get into what exactly we mean about that. Keep in mind that we wish we could cover like every single point underneath these main points we've chosen, but it would take like 7 hours. So we're just touching of the surface of a few things that we feel like are just key realizations for you guys. Okay, so getting into this, what exactly is your mindset and what does it have to do with motherhood? So a mindset is an attitude, disposition, or mood, an intention or inclination. Okay, so it's the way that you think about things. And the thing is that if you can't deal with your mindset, if you can't get your mind right where it needs to be, you're not going to be able to take action and work through the hard parts. You're not going to be able to clear the clutter in your house if you're stuck in your mindset on, well, this is just the way things are and you have 4 kids, so clutter is just a part of that and I'm never going to overcome it. You know, there's things called, a limiting mindset or a fixed mindset. And that is things like when you're not feeling good, when you don't feel healthy and you're overweight and you want to get healthy and lose weight, but whenever you like stop and imagine yourself being a happy, fit person that feels better and doesn't have tummy trouble and all those things, you really can't actually imagine that that's you. That's having a limiting mindset. It's really important here with health and motherhood and raising our kids, and our minds are everything. That has to happen first. So that's why Kendra and I felt it was so important to include that here. Okay. So mindset changes always come before action. You really cannot make much of a difference in your life if you don't first change your mentality about your situation and about where you're wanting to go. Okay, so most of this stuff is mental, and that's why it has to be dealt with first. If you're not in the right mindset, you're going to end up keeping everything, wasting time, and not making progress, okay? That's a waste of time. Just like showing up here and then having all your social media apps open and having 1,000 distractions that you could control, not talking about kids, that's different, then that's a waste of time. Why even be sitting here? Why even be here? The same thing is true with making progress. There's so many times in my business when women will ask me, like, how do you get up so early? How do you make these changes? I just don't understand how. Like, it's amazing. It's not amazing. It's just that I don't like to waste my time. I want to be a really intentional person, and I'm very blunt and serious about where I'm going. So it's that I want to get from A to B, and I am not going to do that by writing down goals and filling journals with pretty script and making all these plans and then like not doing anything about it. So if you want to get uncluttered, if you want to change your mindset, if you want to lose weight, if you want to get healthy, if you want a better marriage, whatever the goal is, you've got to know that you're going to have to do work to get there and stop wasting time. And your mentality needs to be there, not, oh, woe is me. This is so hard. I wish I could just be like her. And I wish that my life was easier. Like you've got what you've got. I believe like we're dealt these cards, that it is what it is. What are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to make of it? Because strong women make things of where they're at. They don't wish and waste time. So tough love, but that is, I mean, it is what it is, whether we're tough about it or not. So we might as well call it what it is, right? Okay. So one thing that Kendra and I both feel like is a really big deal when talking about mindset is sentimental items. As women, and especially as mothers, obviously we really move through life based on emotion. And we're going to be talking about decluttering after this point. So when you're dealing with decluttering, sentimental items are huge roadblocks for so many women. Some women don't really struggle, and that's great. But a lot of people will assume that I'm not a sentimental person because of how I talk about decluttering. I'll say things like, just do it. You need to if you want to get from A to B, you've got to take action. I mean, people assume that I'm not sentimental, that I don't keep anything. And that is just not true at all. I'm actually a very, very sentimental person. I'm very introverted and I process everything kind of internally. And so there'll be times when I was purging my house where I would come across something. One time I came across my daughter's baby dedication dress, and I had severe postpartum depression after she was born. And it got so bad to where I kind of have big gaps in my memory from when she was a baby, and I don't really remember much at all. And so seeing that dress just brought all that up. And I remember sitting there sobbing, and I still kept that dress. But did I keep the other 18 boxes of baby stuff? No, I just kept one special thing. So we're not saying that it's not okay to keep sentimental things. It's not that. It's just that, why? Is this worth it? What are you doing? Is this getting you from A to B? Is this one of those times where it's okay? Like, you have to learn how to get your mentality right so you can deal with the hard parts, like stumbling across sentimental items. So Kendra provided me with this quote, and it's amazing. When everything has sentimental value, nothing has sentimental value. It's not special if you've kept 1,000 others, right? So Kendra, I want you to chime in here, because this is like, you hit this point home so well.
Yeah, this was, I don't even remember where I heard this. I think it was like a culmination of things that for some reason, like, I just put this together, and I don't know if I heard it somewhere or if I heard something like it and I put it together, but this was so big for me because I think people also assume this about me too, because I was like, I clean and I'm just like you. Like, Allie and I were just like cut from the same mold, because we both tend to be very ruthless. Like, we just, get rid of the stuff. If it's not making me happy, it's got to go. But that doesn't mean that I don't come across things, just like Allie said, with the dress, that doesn't make me want to cry or think I need to keep this. I was actually telling Allie that I had an experience a few months ago where, so back in August of last year, a friend of mine passed away, and she had been sick, and so it wasn't sudden, but it broke my heart. So right before that, I must have written something on a piece of paper, like I needed to call her. And so a few months ago, I was cleaning out a drawer, and I found a notebook, and I have a lot of notebooks around the house because I use them for different things. And I looked in it, and I'm always trying to declutter them. I don't want to have things that I'm not using. And so I looked through it, and I had a to-do list on there, and it was like 4 items. And one of them was call Marsha. And I thought, oh my God, my first thought was, I can't get rid of this. No, I can't throw this away. It reminds me of that. Like, I was attaching my memories of my friend to a note in a notepad. And that's what we do. We attach emotion to a thing, to something that actually doesn't hold anything. It was a note. It wasn't even like her handwriting. She didn't write anything. It had nothing to do with her. It was me, but I attached that emotion to it. And so what I realized is that note, I mean, I could keep it. It's not going to clutter up my house to have one note, but I am always looking at the slippery slope. So if I keep that, I always wonder, what is the next thing I'm going to keep? What is the next thing I'm never going to be able to get rid of? And so I did, a little bit of work, and I kind of said a little prayer, and then I just threw the note away, because I didn't want to hold on. I didn't want every time I looked at that to feel sad, because I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel happy when I looked at it. I felt sad. And so I wanted to keep things that made me feel happy. She actually gave us an end table. And I repurposed it. It was like an older end table. And she was like, no, you can have it. It's nice. It'll go great in your house. And I repurposed it. So every time I sit next to that end table in my living room, I think of her. I don't need a little note with her name on it. So what this everything has sentimental value, nothing has sentimental value means is, everything in the world that you have can't mean something special. It just can't. What makes something special is the uniqueness of it. And if something isn't unique, if you're making every single piece of art that your kid has ever made, every doodle, every line, every circle, if all of that is sentimental, then nothing is. It's those special pieces. It's that special dress that Allie was talking about, not the onesie that they like wore and spit up on. Those aren't the things that are going to bring you joy. So that's really what that quote means, and why it's been so important in my life. And I have to remind myself of that all the time. So I want to remind you that we're teaching this stuff because we've had to work through it. Like, this isn't like we're amazing and we know all the stuff. No, we've just had to work the hard way, and we kind of don't want you to do the same thing. So
exactly. And then I love too, like, that we had been talking as we were planning this webinar, like about this point here, that not all things have positive emotions tied to them. And it's not healthy to really keep everything for this reason. So Kendra, why don't you talk about that point?
Yeah, it's funny. It's much like that note thing. That's sort of, where that comes in. Like people keep things and they think that it's sentimental in a good way, but we have a lot of things that we hold on to that are actually really negative. They remind us of perhaps if we had a difficult childhood or if we had a difficult relationship, and we're keeping those things and they don't actually have anything positive to provide us, but we're keeping them usually because we feel guilty about giving them away. We feel guilty about throwing them away. We feel like it's going to be giving up a part of our life if we actually throw that thing away or toss it. The other thing that happens is people keep, the one I hear most from women, because women are usually just such gracious creatures, that they receive gifts and then they're not gifts they're ever going to use. They don't want them, but they feel so guilty about giving them away. And they feel guilty about like selling it or something. So they keep it even though they don't want it. So there's no real positive emotion, and actually it causes resentment because like you look at that thing every day and you're like, ugh, I hate that apple bowl. It's the dumbest looking bowl ever. I hate it. But I know when my mother-in-law comes over, she's going to want to see that apple bowl sitting there instead of just giving it away and then, not feeling so guilty about it. So just the fact that not everything sentimental is actually positive. So you want to be very mindful of the fact. And just like this says, we keep things not because we want them many times, but because it's easier than dealing with the pain of tossing it. So most of us stay in comfort zones for most things because it's like, I don't want to deal with the stuff that's going to come up when I give this away, or I don't want to deal with the conversation that's I'm going to have to have with someone. So I'm just going to keep it. And then it clutters up your house. And then you're upset about it, and then you're mad because you have to clean it, and then it's a vicious cycle.
And people don't realize too that it's like, it might seem dramatic when we're talking about one specific thing. It's not about really that, but it's as a whole, those things add up. So when you make these decisions about one thing, it builds in you the habit and the ability and the momentum to make them about other things. And all of those decisions to, you know what? No, I don't need this. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm not going to keep it. That adds up again and again, just like it added up when you brought those things into your house. So it's important to get this mindset right, but then let it go, live it, move on, and make decisions, because you don't want to become like, we'll talk about this later, but you don't want to become super legalistic about obsessing over what to do with each item. Just get your mind right and move on. And we'll get a little bit more detailed into that later in the slides. But yeah, it's a lot, but once you deal with your mentality, that's everything, because your action will always follow and mimic your mentality. And with this, I mean, really, you guys, this is something that I say all the time to my people, is that you are letting your stuff own you. When you live in clutter, when you have any amount of clutter that is not what is ideal for you, what is like, quote, normal, everyone has it, just the accumulation of all the things over, years or months or whatever, you're letting your stuff own you. Back in my time that I showed you with the terrible picture, my stuff owned me. It was stealing my motherhood. And guys, for those of you who are of faith as I am, that is just a way for the enemy to rob us of what we've been given. And my stuff totally owned me. It ruled my day, it ruled my time, and it sucked. I don't want it to own me anymore. And when I removed that, I was free and I was able to focus. Stuff shouldn't own you. And today, in this materialistic world we live in, it's very easy for that to happen. Okay, so having covered those points about mindset, how do you actually put this into action? We don't want to just talk at you. We want you to walk away with action steps. So before we move on to decluttering, how do you change your mindset and live a rockin' mom life? One thing that I love that I want Kendra to talk about here is recognizing patterns from your childhood. So Kendra, definitely take this one. I love the way you talk about this.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Allie. Yeah, I didn't realize this so much until I started to do one-to-one work. I started to coach moms, and I realized that I'd give them all these strategies for cleaning their house, like just use cleaning your house. And they were like, they'd come to me and they'd go, all I need is a strategy. I feel like I don't have enough strategies. And I was like, okay, we'd set up a strategy, and 3 weeks into it, they still weren't doing the stuff. They still weren't doing it. They had A to Z what they needed to do. They still weren't doing it. And as we dug a little bit further, we realized that even something as simple as cleaning your house has so much to do with your mindset, many times because of how you grew up. And when we talk about childhood experiences and mindset, we automatically go to like negative, like, oh, if you had a traumatic life. No, it has nothing to do with like, it doesn't have to be trauma or anything. It's basically just like, what happened in your childhood that made you feel the way you do about that thing. So even so with the cleaning, it was like one person was like afraid to start new projects because she lived in a house where her parents were always starting projects and then never finishing them. So she never saw any project in her house come to fruition, like a little flaky, and would start things and not stop. So fast forward to her as an adult and a mom who would love nothing more to live in like a clean house with not a lot of clutter and, maybe painted walls and stuff. And she just couldn't make herself even start because she was afraid, well, what if I start and I don't finish? And then I end up having my kids feel the same way I did, as a child. So it's super important to make sure that you understand that your childhood plays a role in that and just recognizing it. And sometimes that's just a matter of finding what's not working and taking a step back and going, does this have anything to do with something that might have happened in my childhood? You don't have to get too like down the rabbit hole of psychology with it. It's really just about recognizing and not feeling the guilt or the resentment towards your childhood, just the recognition. I'm telling you, recognition for things is like 50% of the problem. If you can get recognition, you're already 50% better than you were, because most people don't even recognize they have problems and they're just going about their life. So another great tip is to know what lights you up and what makes you unhappy. And this is such a simple tip for changing your mindset that people just don't use, and us moms just do not use as much as we should. And that is, decide what in your life makes you happy and do more of that. And decide what in your life causes you stress and unhappiness and do less of it. And I know you're probably thinking, well, that seems really easy, right? But why aren't we doing it? And I have to ask myself this too. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I doing stuff that stresses me out? Why am I keeping stuff that stresses me out? Why am I dealing with people that make me unhappy? It's so simple. Just change your mindset by knowing what makes you happy and what makes you unhappy. And you'd be amazed how fast your mindset can switch about all the things in your life, especially motherhood, when you just realize doing more of what makes you happy and doing less of what stresses you out is how you're going to funnel into that really awesome rockin' mom life.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the next thing that kind of ties in with that is like recognizing our excuses. It is, first of all, what you said is amazing, because it is so easy for us to not be thinking about like, what makes me happy? Like that's the opposite of what motherhood feels like. And kind of, I believe, like I said, that we are each called to live a joy-filled, abundant life. But that doesn't mean that motherhood isn't servitude. That's all motherhood is, really. Like, it is very much like we are servants to our family. We cook for them. We clean up after them. We teach them and raise them and help them. But I'm just saying that it doesn't have to suck and be terrible. So it's when you're doing that, when your life is servanthood, it is so weird to stop and think like, wait, what makes me happy? Do I really need to be doing this? So I think that's why we don't do that. And also, like, we don't realize that we have excuses. Identify if you are procrastinating as a way to create excuses and not take action. And I say this in love because I love my tribe, but I see this probably more often than anything else, is just finding ways to procrastinate. So things like, and again, we're talking about like taking action in your mentality. So in light of that, what I want to tell you guys is ask yourself, am I obsessing over getting rid of sentimental things because I'm really just procrastinating actually doing the work? Am I obsessing over whether to sell or donate my things? It feels like such a waste of money to get rid of these things. Are you really just looking for a way to not do the hard work of letting go of your stuff? Because it's one thing to show up at this class and get all inspired, and it's a totally different thing to show up with boxes and rubber gloves and like start sorting through all your junk and like make it happen, really. And so I feel like so often I see these women just creating these piles of reasons to procrastinate and not start. So ask yourself if that's something that you're doing too. We like to avoid doing the work. And, you know, I think sometimes what I want to do is just go to wherever the person is in the world and put my hands on their face and say, stop whining about how hard your life is and creating problems and reasons to start and just do something about it. And it's usually the most important, the most life-changing things that we avoid taking action on. And that is what keeps us stuck. So how do you fix your mentality and start rocking your mom life in terms of that whole area of your life? Get real with yourself. Recognize your excuses, stop procrastinating, deal with your past, deal with the root in your heart that's keeping you stuck, and decide. All you need to do, you guys, you are one decision away from from going from A to B. You're one decision away from your B, okay? And that decision is, I am going to cut the crap and just start. Okay. Now that we've dealt with that, let's get into the decluttering portion, which is, of course, my favorite thing to talk about. Okay, so when it comes to decluttering, I always say you first need to understand why it's so important, and at the same time, talking about why decluttering is so important also gives you a why for your own self to go and take action. Because when we don't have a solid reason for doing something hard, we won't do it. Okay, so what it comes down to is decluttering your home removes the things that you don't need or want and makes space for the things that you love. This goes way beyond the physical stuff, but we're kind of focusing on that today. So I won't go on a tangent, but this goes way, way, way beyond. Like, if I remove the 15 mugs that I never really use and don't really like, then it makes space for the 6 mugs that I love and look to use because they're so cute. Yes, that's true, and that's a part of it, but it goes way beyond just this stuff. So like I said with the mugs example, like, think about your own kitchen. Most of us have like 30 mugs, and we really don't like that many of them. And we like kind of look for the few like super, super cute and happy ones on a hard Monday morning. Those are the ones you want to keep. So when you remove the extra ones and just say, I don't need those, I just need these ones, now you'll have more space for the ones you love. That example goes into other things. When you remove all of the different things you've committed to on your calendar and all the different pieces of clothing that nobody in your family even needs or wears ever, that 80% of everyone's wardrobe that people just don't wear, if you remove that, you just created less time washing laundry, less laundry to wash. That's more time for your kids and for what matters. So it goes both in like things that really, really matter, like time with your family, and little things like you get rid of this so you have more space for the cute ones that you really love and that bring you joy. So I hope that makes sense, but that is a big why when you're doing this. Okay. Decluttering is not about being a neat freak or having the cleanest house. I want to like shout this because I also feel like another misunderstanding about me as a person and what I do for women is that people assume that I'm a neat freak or that I'm type A or that I'm very, very clean. I know, like, Kendra and I have talked as we've been preparing this workshop for you guys, that she really does, like, clutter really bothers her, and she does like prefer a clean space. And I love that we're different here because I am not that way. I am very, very creative, and so just naturally kind of a messy person. Messy house doesn't bother me. It's just that back in the day when I was telling you my story, it was not just like, oh, the house is kind of messy. It was like constant cleanup. That bothers me because I'm not doing what I love. I don't love to clean. I don't like to pick up a bunch of things a million times a day as the kids go behind me, pulling out more things. I would rather remove all the things and not even have the possibility of making such a mess so that I can go live my life. So it's not about being a neat freak. It's not about having a clean house. It's about taking ownership of your life and saying, you know what, Steph? You don't own me. You don't get to steal my motherhood. I get to be present and putting your stuff in its freaking place, because people don't realize that it's taking over their lives. You do not need more space. You need less stuff. And I know that this is something Kendra and I both just really say again and again in our businesses, because people don't understand. You do not need to go buy more bins. You do not need a bigger house. You do not need to upgrade. You need less stuff. You can sure solve the problem by buying a bigger house, by buying more storage bins, by getting organized, but you're just putting crap you don't need in pretty areas and making it look better. And that's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, okay? You got to pull the bullet out and treat the wound and solve the problem. Pull the root out, solve the problem. Okay, so when you live a decluttered life, and I want you guys to feel, I hope you can feel my heart in this as I say this, because it's not from a place of like, oh, let me tell you what it's like. I have come so long in such a hard journey, and I'm trying to gift you guys this shortcut. What life looks like after decluttering is pretty amazing. There is so much more joy. There is so much more family time. Like I said, a better marriage. Seriously, you guys, this affects relationships in the deepest, most amazing way that you would never expect. It creates focused, intentional moments with your kids that you just, honestly, guys, you just will not get the same moments with your kids if you do not take action on this. You just won't. I've been there and I've tried. I'm a very intentional mom. I'm a very purposeful person. I do not do anything if there is not a deep, meaningful purpose behind it for me. I've always been that way. And I'm telling you, it's impossible. I could not homeschool my kids. I could not run my successful business. I could not spend time with my husband every day if it wasn't for this. You cannot be everything to everyone. You've got to choose, and this stuff is just not worth it. Okay. What I want to talk to you guys about next is really, really important, and it's always a burden on my heart, because this is another thing that I see again and again. I want to talk about simplifying and clearing the clutter versus the sort of like count everything. I got to be a minimalist. So how many pieces of clothing does a minimalist have method? Okay, I'm talking like Marie Kondo here. Okay, and the minimalists. These people are amazing. They're spreading the message of less, but I feel like they're spreading it in a legalistic way. This is not me, tearing anyone down. To each his own. If that method suits you and you're a numbers person, great, go for it. What I have to offer, what Kendra and I have to offer, is this philosophy of minimalism for moms. Moms don't have time to stand their carrots up in the produce drawer, which is a legit suggestion in, what's the book, Kendra? What's the book called again?
It's the magic of tidying up.
Yeah, that one. We don't have time to create a purse station where we empty our purse every day. Like, I'm sorry, my purse is full of Cheerios. I'm just going to say it. But I don't care, because that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to be minimalist and follow these unwritten rules and like have succulents and white walls and like one couch. Like, I don't care. This is intentional and purposeful for me. So I want you to know the word minimalism is such a turn off for me, but there's really no other way to say it, because that's what it is. But my philosophy of minimalism is for the mom. It is for the mom who doesn't care how many sweaters she has and how many pairs of shoes she saves for each kid. She just wants to get out of survival mode, and she wants to rock her mom life. So I want to be clear. There's no rules or legalism here. This is for the mom who just wants to simplify. Okay, so I'm not about the count everything method. Okay, so when you're doing this minimalism this way, the realistic mom version, don't count what you're keeping or what you're giving away. It's just going to make you upset. It's going to make you feel like you wasted a ton of money, which you did, but lesson learned, right? Don't obsess and create a way to procrastinate by counting everything. Get rid of the things that are causing you stress, okay? This is something that I want Kendra to talk about, because you talk about it so well. And it's so, so huge. Like, on top of not counting everything and not keeping things out of obligation, we want to focus also on what we're getting rid of. So Kendra, go ahead.
Yeah, this is so I completely agree with Allie on all that stuff, obviously, because we are like of the same mind when it comes to that, of this like needing to count things. And we have actually talked about the fact that there's actually a pendulum and you swing from one side, which is the hoarder, to the other side, which is the like ultra minimalist, where you're like literally like counting each tiny thing that comes to your house. Like, I only have 100 items. And I'm like, okay, but are you happy? Like, that's not going to make somebody like me happy. So what I always say is like, don't toss items that bring you joy or happiness. Don't toss the items that are useful just for the sake of being minimal. I'm seeing this as a trend now. And just like Allie, I want to make sure that you understand that that is not what we are about. So anytime we are doing any training or classes or even in our courses, it is not about just getting rid of stuff. So I always use the example, like right now, while I'm looking at you, there's a lamp right next to me. It's sitting on my desk. I don't really need a lamp on my desk because I have an overhead light, but I got it because I was like, it's really cute. It was on sale. It goes with the decor of my office. It gives me extra light. I'm not just going to get rid of that because, well, I really shouldn't have another lamp. You should only have 3 things on your desk at a time. And this sounds really silly, guys, but like this is legit the way that some people teach minimalism. No joke. Like,
I have to interject. Like, I'm sorry. It's seriously like, I have seen some really sad things that make my heart hurt. Like, you are robbing these people of the purpose behind this and making it almost like a religion or like a cult. And that is just like so not. Guys, it removes the meaning behind it. Like, it's so important to be careful about like what you're listening to and like why are you doing this? So Kendra, go ahead with your lamp.
And I also just want to, I just want to say something, because somebody just said something in the comments about, have you even read the Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up? I actually have. And yes, I understand that her philosophy is about keeping things that bring you joy, but she also, what we're trying to say is that some of her tips are not very practical for mothers. They're not. I am a mom. I have 2 kids. Allie has 4. And as someone who really preaches this and talks about it a lot and is big on this, I have found that it is not very practical for mothers. It's practical for single women. For single guys, we were talking about the minimalists. That works great for them. But we're all about trying to make it easier for moms without making them feel guilty about wanting to keep things. That's all I'm saying. That's really where we're coming from. So,
and also like honestly, if you wanted to get down to it, we could say like as professional minimalists, if that's not working for us, what the heck is it going to do to somebody who's super overwhelmed and just wants to get out of the muck and the mire? Like, we're not saying that book is bad. We're not saying that it doesn't work, but it didn't work for me. And I'm already on the other side, guys. Like, I was reading it and trying to glean, why is this book so popular? Let's get into it. And it's just the rules and the regulations. That's the last thing I need. I am trying to raise world changers. I am trying to homeschool. I am trying to run my business. I literally forget to shower sometimes. The last thing I need is to be worried about how I'm aligning my produce.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, it's like you, just because you're saying something is like, this is the way we find it works best. Like, I am not at all knocking that book. Like, I'm an abundant person. So I feel like, that book has helped a lot of people, people. For sure. We just are saying like, it tends to be a little more legalistic, tends to be very by the book with rules. And I find that the last thing mom needs in life is more rules and more reasons to feel guilty. That's just my personal opinion. So that's what we're talking about with keeping things that bring you, not just bring you joy, but also keeping things that are practical to keep. I saw someone in the comments say they have like 100 pens or markers because they love them. Yes. Don't just throw your markers away because like, now I'm a minimalist and I can't have these markers that I use all the time and make me happy. Like, don't get rid of that. My mom has like 1 million Sharpies. She loves them, but then it's also about the balance of, okay, you have 100 Sharpies, but you don't have 100 of something else. It's that balance. So that's all we're talking.
Exactly. Okay. So, and again, like we touched on this a little bit ago, but I want to just mention it again. Like, eliminating procrastination is huge, you guys, not just with your mentality and your mindset, but like when you're actually going to like act this out and take action. Rather than just getting started and not being perfectionistic about it, are you subconsciously procrastinating and worrying over how and where to begin? I know it's hard and I know it's overwhelming. It's a lot. And that's why Kendra and I do what we do, is to help you guys actually take action. But this is a form of like self-sabotage. When you are worried about like, where do I start? Where's the best place to start? Well, isn't this a waste of money to get rid of these things? What if my husband's not on board? What if all of these things are just reasons to not start. And you can see it in our stories too. Look at what happened with us. We both just started and it went. So just start. I always tell people, just go in a room. Don't overthink it. Close your eyes, pick something up, make a decision about that item. Keep, toss, or donate. There, you started, and keep going. Okay, so knowing all of these things and how to just like actually make this happen, how do I start decluttering so I can rock my mom life? One thing that you can do is set a timer. And Kendra, this was Kendra's idea, and I totally took over your slide. Sorry.
That's okay. It's fine. I can see the slides just fine, so it's no problem for me. I can see what's coming. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like, you go ahead. You were just saying about like setting a timer to just make it simple.
Yeah, so I'm big on timers. I love timers. We use timers in our homes for everything, not just for cooking, but my son loves timers, my daughter does, and now I do, because timers give you like a certain limit and you feel like you have to get a lot done in that time. And what ends up happening psychologically is that you end up going past the timer. Like I don't know, there's something psychological about giving yourself 10 minutes on a timer and knowing that, it's going to beep or it's going to go off. And so you give yourself that time, much like if anyone has ever used or heard of the Pomodoro technique, which is just a way of working in blocks of time, where you time yourself and you do a task for a certain amount of time. That's sort of what you're doing. It's a great way to just jumpstart decluttering. Like Ali was saying, don't think about it too much. Don't use procrastination as a way of not getting started. Well, I just need more techniques. I just need to wait. I don't have any boxes and bins. Like, just go in a spot, set a timer, and just get started. Give yourself a set amount of time and begin. Do it with your kids too. Kids love timers. Give them 15 minutes and then make it a game. Like, who can get it done the fastest wins, whatever, a prize or something like that. But not a material prize.
Yeah, totally. And then when you are super, super overwhelmed. So for those of you who are like, oh, this is great, but like, I'm trying to pick a spot and just start, but like, I just like need a little guidance. Totally understand. When you are very, very overwhelmed, there is a couple different things you could do. The first option that I give people, and it depends, kind of know yourself. Why are you overwhelmed? Are you feeling overwhelmed because you're very emotional about this? Like, are you feeling overwhelmed because you just have a lot going on? But one thing you can do is to choose an area that has like few or no emotional attachments. So somewhere like the bathroom. Not a lot of people store sentimental items in their bathroom. So that's a great spot to start. It's not emotional, it's not overwhelming. Usually you'll just find like some old mascara and like hair tools you never use anymore in there, and it's very easy. It's a great place to start. And why is because momentum will build from there and your progress will always snowball. So it's just a really, really great place to get in there, get something done, feel accomplished, and then you can move on. The other area you can start in is what I did. I didn't know any of this. I didn't even know minimalism was a thing back then, so I just kind of did this because it came out of me. But I do like what I did, and that was starting with an area that sucked up the most of my time. And for me at that time, it was the toy room, because you could see it from the kitchen, you could see it from the entryway. It was always a mess, and it just was awful. I hated it. So that was like taking up the most of my joy and the most of my time. So what is it for you? Is it your laundry? Do you feel like you're literally just like never able to stop with the laundry? Is it your dishes? Is it your kids' toys? Is it your wardrobe? Like, what is it? Where are you spending the most of your day? If you feel like you could take that on, you can totally start there. So either a non-emotional place that's easy to start in, or the place that takes up the most of your time. The perk of starting where it takes up the most of your time is that you're going to see an immediate difference in your life. And the perk of starting somewhere non-emotional is that you're going to very easily build momentum. So you kind of have to know yourself and know, like, like what feels good to me here? Like what would be the best for me? Okay, Kendra's going to talk about to-do lists because she's the queen.
I am a recovering to-do list junkie, just so all of you know. I've been in, programs to help me. No, seriously. I use that sarcastically, but it's true. And that kind of goes to my OCD a little bit that I've been really legit recovering from. But I used to make like to-do lists that were like novels. Like it was like War and Peace of to-do lists. It was ridiculous. And I did it because then it made me feel purposeful. And I just felt like I was busying myself up. But when it comes to decluttering, when it comes to everything, but decluttering right here, keep your list small. If it seems like too much, write out a detailed but concise list. So if you were going to start in the bathroom, like Ali said, where it doesn't have a lot of emotional attachment, but even you look at the linen closet and you're like, good God, where did all this stuff come from? Get a piece of paper and write out a list. I'm going to declutter and remove the stuff from the top two shelves. Okay. I'm going to take the stuff out. I'm going to get rid of one bag worth of stuff. I'm going to get rid of anything that's expired. Like make yourself a detailed, concise list, but keep it short. Don't go into this long thing. And I actually saw someone in the comments earlier ask like, well, what do I do? Like I start one thing, but then I see something else that needs to be done. That's where short, concise lists and routines and schedules keep you on track. So you don't end up with the shiny object syndrome or the like squirrel over there. Keep to just what you're doing. Don't worry that the next, shelves aren't getting done right now. Get to those first. And then once you make progress, I know Ali can definitely attest for this, momentum takes over. Once you start something, you have to rely on the snowball effect. Just get started, make those small to-do lists and do it. And you'll see the momentum it'll just like a snowball.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I wanted to add to this is that it's important to start and finish an area before moving on. This is something that is hard to do when you're a mom, but you can block out time or just be disciplined and not work on purging again until this is done. But you need to understand that you aren't truly done decluttering a space in your home until the donations are boxed up and taken out to your car to be dropped off or picked up by them or whatever way you're doing this. The trash is thrown away outside of the house and keep items are put away in their new homes. If you don't do this way, I've done it another way and things just unravel and then it's a waste of time. And remember, we want to be intentional. The point is to have more time, not to waste time, right? So if you just make sure you finish all the way before you say like, okay, this space is done or I'm done for today. And if you don't have time to do all that, then declutter less of the space. Just declutter half the closet and then donations that get boxed up, trash gets thrown away, keep items are put away. You can do the rest of the closet later. Whatever you can do to make this happen is really important for not wasting time. Okay, Kendra, this is you.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite. So if any of you are fans of Parks and Rec like I am, I'm all about incentivizing yourself or treat yourself. So give yourself incentives, but try not to make them material. I mean, if you're decluttering, like you don't go out and just like, I'm going to buy myself new stuff. Try not to make it material. Maybe you treat yourself to like a night out with your family out to dinner because maybe you never do that, or you treat yourself to a night out with your friends, or it can be something material if you're getting rid of stuff that's old and grimy and like expired. Like you said, mascara. That's like you've been like keeping this tube of mascara for like 3 years and it's starting to grow stuff. Go treat yourself to a new bottle of mascara, like a real bottle that's, okay and not, growing germs. Treat yourself to something. Incentivizing yourself works the same as it does with kids. Humans just by nature love to kind of incentivize themselves. And that kind of goes into my next tip, which is to find an accountability buddy. I cannot stress how much humans need accountability. Like we need someone to hold us accountable. Now, some of us are really good at holding ourselves accountable. I am not one of those people. I will say for a fact that I'm someone that absolutely thrives on outside accountability. So I am always asking a friend or my spouse or my kids or your mom, anyone to hold you accountable to a task. It's just great to even tell your friend, like, listen, I'm on this journey. I'm trying to get rid of this stuff. Will you hold me accountable and check back in with me in a week and see how much progress I've made? You will be amazed how much that helps. put it in a Facebook group where you have like thousands of people holding you accountable. You can also do a party on a specific day. That'll give you extra layers of accountability. Like, I'm throwing a party in 2 weeks. This stuff needs to be cleaned up. Or set up a pickup date with the Salvation Army to pick up your stuff, because you know that you have to be done by that day. It's just an extra layer of accountability. So
yes, absolutely. Okay, so the last point we want to make is talking about time ownership. Kendra and I named it this, like, own your time instead of manage your time, because we feel like there's a lot of time management is overused, and it's not very productive or helpful to manage something that kind of gives the idea that it's out of control and it needs to be managed. But rather, owning your time is like telling it where to go and being a ruthless about kind of being careful and like editing what you allow to take up your time. So we love this quote by Greg McKeown. He's the author of Essentialism, which is an amazing book you should read, by the way. Remember that if you do not prioritize your life, someone else will. And that is just, I mean, I don't even need to say anything else about it, because it's just so, so true. Let those words soak in and think about a time in your life where that happened. I mean, I can easily think of a handful. If you hear yourself saying, I don't have time for that, try instead saying, that isn't a priority, and see how that feels. I mean, honestly, it is about seeing how it feels. You can tell right away. It will like nudge in your heart, like, that is a priority, or yes, that feels right. Like, that's what I need to do here. And this is especially good for when you're forming the habit of being a little bit more ruthless about what you allow to go in your calendar. Because I feel like it's a learned skill. So this is a really good way, if you guys want to like screenshot this or write it down or something to remember, like, this is a really good way to kind of teach yourself how to be a little bit more like healthy boundaries around your time. Okay, so one thing I want to say really quick, I want to say this before we get into how you can act on this. What we say with our stuff is like, you know, it's the same thing that Kendra and I tell people who think they need to get organized. You don't need to organize your stuff. You need to get rid of your stuff. I feel like it's the same with your calendar. If it's too full, too chaotic, you don't need to like manage your time better. You need to get rid of the stuff on your calendar. Okay, so how do you start acting this out and owning your time so you can live a rockin' mom life? Again, with the list, but in terms of like your calendar, Kendra's going to talk about making lists in terms of this area of your life.
Yeah. So again, we're recovering to-do list junkie over in these parts in upstate New York. So what I found is that you don't need to cut out to-do lists. Like, we need them. We need to know what we're doing, especially as moms. I don't care if you have an infant or you have like 7 kids. You need to know what's going on, but you need to make better to-do lists. So do a brain dump first. And if you don't know what a brain dump is, it's kind of just literally that you're dumping everything from your brain out onto paper or a computer, wherever you do it, but just writing out all the things you need to do, like anything, making doctor's appointments, cleaning a room, decluttering, picking people up from, soccer practice. I don't care what it is, just get it all out if it's in your head. And then what you do is you keep your list to about 3 to 5 items. I even say 3, like really keep them small unless they're very, very small items. So make those lists very small. What you do is you take things from the brain dump and put them on your daily to-do list. So every day you look and go, oh, I can do this, this, and this. And it's literally like you just go through and pick and pick and pick based on your priorities for that day. And then write them in order of importance. You just want to make sure that you're writing things out in the order of importance, not in the order in which you think of things. That is just the worst thing you could do, because that's the way that people write like not great to-do lists, is they write them in the order of that they think of them. And sometimes what we think about is not actually the priority. So then the stuff gets pushed down.
I love the way that Tim Ferriss talks about this, where he says, like, as blunt as he possibly could, gun to your head, what would happen if you didn't do this thing? Like, would it be detrimental? Like, what would you have to get done, gun to your head? I love that, because it's like so blunt and so like, oh, well, then I guess this isn't so important. Like, we over exaggerate the importance of things so often.
Yes. And then, so that goes along, this goes along with writing a to-do list, is decide on your priorities. As Greg McKeon has said, you need to make sure that you know your priorities. Don't let anyone else do that. Your priorities should only, be the most important things in your life. So another thing Greg McKeon said, because he's a genius, and another thing he said in Essentialism, is that the word priorities only became plural in the 1900s. From 1400 until 1900, the word was priority. One, it didn't even have a plural to it. And it means prior or first. So it literally means the first thing. We changed it during the Industrial Revolution because we started to do more things. And so we needed more priorities. But just like everything can't be sentimental, everything can't be a priority. Everything can't be done first. Everything can't be the most important. So you have to decide what the most important thing to you is, and being okay with that, it being okay for you, because what's a priority to me isn't going to be a priority necessarily to Allie or to, Lauren in the chat box or Bailey in the chat box. Like, our priorities might be different. Yes, we're all moms, so our kids are probably our priorities, but we have a different number of kids. What's a priority about our kids? Maybe it's homeschooling. Maybe it's sending them to public school or private school. Those are all priorities. Decide what's a priority in your life and then stick to it, and stick to your guns.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I've been recently trying, that I actually kind of stole from my husband and his, he has like a virtual Bible study buddy that lives in another state, and they meet once a week, and they have been doing this thing, and I have borrowed it, and it's amazing. I was sharing it on my Instagram story yesterday. Write out 3 things that you need to do tomorrow. It depends on where I'm at. Sometimes I make them like soulful things. Like the other day, my to-do list was something like, get moving for 45 minutes, like take a walk or go to the gym or just move for 45 minutes, and like go for a prayer drive, which is one of the things I do when I'm stressed. I just go for a drive, roll the windows down, and just like pray out loud about whatever's stressing me out. And then take a shower. Like some days that's where I'm at. Like I just like need to remind myself to take a shower or to take care of myself. And some days it really is like, okay, send this email or, whatever. But choosing 3 things, and I write them down, and they're sitting in a very prominent area of my house and I can see them. And it just sort of gets you refocused the night before for the day that's about to come. Okay, this is another huge thing with priorities. It's so important. Kendra, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm big on saying no. And Allie and I completely wholeheartedly agree on this subject. We are no sayers. We do not need to say yes to everything. In fact, when I stopped saying yes to things, my life improved dramatically. But the saying goes that when you say no to something, you are actually saying yes to something else. And this does not have to be like a big thing like, oh, I'm going to say no to one job opportunity so I can take on this amazing other. No. That means like saying no to babysitting your niece so that you can sleep in later. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but that you want to make sure you're actually saying yes to yourself, because you need to come first. I know that you're a mom. I know you want your kids to come first. I know you've been inundated with that as a society. But the truth is that if your cup is empty, you can't pour from it. So say no often. We are big around here with saying no to things. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wrote a blog post, literally just titled like how to say no, because it is a hard thing to learn and it's not natural for everybody. And one thing that I kind of jokingly say is like kind of giving off a polite no vibe to people. Like, I want to say this in a way that lets you guys know, like, I'm not a jerk. I just have really healthy boundaries. But the people in my life, like, they know that. People understand that I won't say yes to everything. And you can see the change in how people approach you and ask you about doing something. They come at it with less of a, like, hey, can you do this? Like, it's more of like a, hey, I wanted to see if you had time to help with this project or whatever it is. And I just kind of give a vibe off that's like, I have healthy priorities and I don't have a lot of time. And you guys, please keep in mind, my life, it might look way different than yours. So you might not need to live this out quite so strictly. But for me, like, I have 4 kids. I homeschool them. I run a business with my husband at home. We live in a camper. We're always traveling. I literally, like, every minute matters. And I want to spend 85% of my day not working, not doing anything but soaking up my family. That doesn't leave room for much else. That's my life. So I have to have very strict priorities and healthy boundaries. I think we all should, but I have to say no more often than maybe you would. But I'm just sharing this with you to give you guys an example of like, it is okay to say no. And when you have those healthy boundaries, people tend to catch your drift and understand, and things will kind of shift. So you're not having to say no all the time. People don't ask me for stuff very often because they know, like, I'm busy. My life is full. And I, will probably say no unless it's like very worth time. Basically, like when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, right? So if I say yes to doing something for somebody, I'm literally saying no to a certain amount of minutes spent with my family. That's heavy to me. So that's why it's so important. And I love that Kendra said earlier too, your emergency is not my emergency. So there should be no guilt in saying no to something. One thing too that I want to touch on before we wrap up this portion is, if you want to completely change your entire life very, very quickly, start waking up earlier. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not overdoing that. I'm dead serious. This goes hand in hand with ditching all my clutter. This one single move changed my entire life in a very similar way, just by waking up earlier. If something has to get done in your day, if it has to happen, then it has to get done first, because life happens, kids happen, somebody getting sick happens, you getting some hard news and having a bad day happens. Life happens. So if something absolutely must get done today, then it needs to get done first. So I know that my life is crazy. It's very hard to predict. There are things that just pop up out of nowhere almost every day, because we live in a unique situation. And so I know that, well, if I have to send an email, or if I have to write, or I have to do something for work, then it needs to get done before everyone's awake, because that's just what I'm dealing with. So again, like I said earlier, instead of, oh my gosh, woe is me, this is so difficult, my life is so chaotic, I can't put it together. Instead, I say, this is where I'm at. It's a huge blessing that we get to travel all the time. It's a huge blessing to have 4 kids. It's a huge blessing to be able to homeschool them, but it is a lot and it's a heavy burden. So instead of whining about it, I'm going to make good things happen and just get my crap done first thing in the morning, so I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. So that's what I'm talking about. And that for you can be anything. It could be getting dinner in the crock pot. It can be meal planning or meal prepping. It could be exercising. It could be reading your Bible. It could be having some alone time in the morning so that you're in a better place for your kids the rest of the day. If there is anything in your life that is important to happen, it has to happen first. Okay. So let's go over this again, just to kind of re-summarize what we've talked about. You showed up to this class today because you're overwhelmed by clutter and the stuff in your home. You'd give just about anything for a 27-hour day, right? There's never enough time in the day. Your to-do lists read more like novels than a short, easy reminder, and you constantly feel like you're drowning in all things motherhood. Plus, you know that you need better routines in your life and that you were meant for so much more than you're feeling right now. And we so understand where you're at. And let me tell you guys that it is time to take back the control. It's time to take control of your mindset, of your home, and put your clutter in its place. It's time to own your time so that these things are not owning you anymore. Okay? Right now, you guys, like everything we just talked with you about, none of this is theory or guessing, or we think this will work for you if your life is like ours, or if this, then that. None of this is like that. And go ahead, Kendra.
Oh, no, I just wanted to interject just quickly and just say, I hear that a lot from people who, like, I don't know if they think that people like me and Allie are like special magical unicorns or something. It's like, no, we had to go through exactly what you're going through. I mean, I've been just reading the comments here, like reading. And we're exactly the same. We were exactly the same. So none of this that we've talked about is like, oh, I just read this out of a book or I picked it out of a blog post. Every single thing we talked about here is something we've had to do ourselves. It's mindset shifts we've had to make. It's decluttering we had to do. It's owning our time instead of managing it. We had to do everything. And it's not just like, oh, I think this will work for you. Allie has seen her work for thousands of people. I literally have seen the same with hundreds of people in groups and that kind of stuff. I worked with, I've literally cleaned houses. I did the math. I have cleaned houses over 12,000 times. 12,000 times in the last 10 years. So I've seen what works and what horribly does not work at all when it comes to moms and routines. So
exactly. And at one point we came to like a point of decision where something needed to change. And you guys are at that point of decision. We didn't just put this class together to like drop it in your laps and leave. Like this is like that, how I told you guys, like I felt like I stumbled across a secret. Like this is that secret. This is it. It's simplifying. And you guys now have that, and you're at the point of decision. Taking action or staying stuck on the same hamster wheel that you've been on for who knows how long. You guys know. We don't know. But for any amount of time that hasn't been working. And so, and on top of this class that we've worked for so many weeks to put together for you guys, we've also put together a next step to help you guys put this into action. Okay, we've put together a bundle for you guys that will not be offered anywhere else ever. Okay, it is not sold on our websites. It's not for anyone else but the attendees of this workshop, you guys, because you guys are doers. You guys registered, and those of you here today, you didn't just register and wait for later. You showed up. Okay, that's a big deal. This is something that is very, very unique and I'm going to tell you in a minute. I mean, it is amazing. Okay. And we wanted to put it exclusively for those who are the doers. Okay. So what it is it's a system for the overburdened mom. Okay. This is only for the mom who's ready to cut the crap and seriously reconstruct the way she's been spending her time in her life, putting her role and her task list in its place, not over her in ownership of her, but her in ownership of it. Okay, this is a system for abundant motherhood. It's not something we just say, something that we talk about. Okay, if you want to know how to declutter your entire house in the next few weeks and then get a solid system in place for managing the housework afterward, this is it. Okay, we put together the Rock Your Mom Life bundle to go along with our class. Okay, so what it is my decluttering course, Your Uncluttered Home, plus Kendra's course, Homemakerish You. Listen, this is the most effective, the longest lasting way to change your entire mom life, guaranteed. Okay, I'm saying it flat out and blunt because it is. You will not find anywhere else a full decluttering course that will walk you through purging your house and a course on cleaning and systemizing and getting your cleaning where it belongs. We're a tiny sliver of your day, not your entire week. You will not find a bundle like this if you go and look for it. This is exclusive. This is the best of both of us put together. Okay. So Your Uncluttered Home is my course. It is a room by room guide to an uncluttered home for the mom who's just tired of cleaning up all the time. Okay. And then, Kendra's course, Homemakerish You, this is the cover here. It's a fresh and uniquely complete online course for moms who want to learn how to simplify the management of their house so they can enjoy their home. So you guys see what we did here? We have the decluttering course. So you purge the clutter, get the crap out. You'll get it done. You can get it done very quickly. Okay. And I'll answer questions about that later because I know there's always questions about how quickly you can do this. You can go slow if you need to. You can go very quickly if you need to. You get the clutter out and gone. Then Kendra comes in after and she says, okay, now you've got to maintain this. You've got to clean, right? Everybody has to clean a lot less, but you still have to do it. Let's get it systemized so that it's just like, 30, 45 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day for some people. Yeah. It just depends on your house and not let it take
over. Yes. So much with the yes. I'm going to do the emoji that's the emoji I want. Cause that's exactly how I feel. So I actually set up my course where it can take you as quickly or as long as you want it to. And I know that Allie has done the same. Like you don't have to, if you need to take it in small chunks, you can take it in small chunks. And I said that it's a fresh and unique way because I've seen other homemaking courses out there. I've seen them. And what they usually focus on is more of the overarching themes of homemaking, like baking pies and, serving your husband, and all of those are well and good. Believe me, I love a good pie and I love my husband. But what I saw was this hole in the market where moms weren't being told like the mindset shifts and the strategies and the ways to actually implement the stuff to really just live a rockin' mom life, to be homemakerish. And the reason I use the word homemakerish is because that ish is your permission to be imperfect. You don't have to do this perfectly. None of this is perfect. All it takes is you doing these strategies and listening to these audios and videos, which we'll talk about in a second in our courses, and implementing them at the speed that is good for you, so that you don't have to feel like you're constantly on this hamster wheel. These are going to be the way for you to like hop right off. So just want to interject. And now I think Allie is going to show you all about her course, because we are all about full transparency. And so we want to show you what's actually in our courses.
Yes. And again, with the transparency, we're going to show you literally exactly, like I'm right now on this screen. I am inside of my course as if I was a logged in user. Okay. So you can see this is the platform. You just start the next lecture and these are the lessons. Okay. Some are video, most are audio, because I didn't want you to feel like you're staring at a screen for no reason. If it doesn't need to be that you're sitting down and looking at this and you can listen on the go, then I wanted that for you. So you can see the foundation module here. I show you how to navigate the course. And then we talk about what minimalism is, talking to your family. What if your husband's not on board? When your kids aren't on board, finding time to declutter, how to declutter with little kids in the house, shifting your mindset so you can stay positive and reach your goals, working through emotions while you declutter, what to do when you're too overwhelmed to start, what to do with what you're not keeping, a note on selling your items versus donating, how to donate electronic waste, and then the decluttering module, literally every room in your house. Okay, how to store your clothing too, your wardrobe, your kids' wardrobes, your kitchen appliances. I mean, you guys can see here every room, the entryway, the office, the homeschool area, the garage, the dreaded, over-cluttered garage. Tackling your clutter crutch. That is something that I call clutter crutch because everybody has an area or room in their house where they shove all their junk, and like, you need to tackle that first so that you can move forward and not have a place where you're throwing stuff you're being indecisive about. Everything that you need. The maintenance module, what maintenance mode looks like, how to shop differently so that you're not bringing crap back into your house, developing rhythms in your life, kids and chores, how to store stuff. Then there's a module that's just for your kids, taught by my daughter Bella when she was 7, so just a few months ago. She talks about how to keep all your artwork that you make from taking over the whole house, why minimalism is awesome, you know, doing something other than watching TV with your time. And she even has a couple of lessons here where she shows your kids how to draw stuff because she's such a little artist, and being creative instead of watching TV all the time. And then there's obviously like a million bonuses. You can tour my home. Before we moved into our camper, we had a normal house. You can tour my minimalist home. Dealing with gifts during birthdays and holidays, what to do with your kids' artwork, taking control of your day with time blocking and free workbooks and downloads and interviews and videos. I mean, you can see here this video is 117 minutes of talking about minimalism and Christmas. You get all my web classes. You get a capsule wardrobe with a fashion blogger interview. You get my ebook. You get all of these are printables, 15-minute decluttering projects, the almost done 1-week challenge to finish you off. You get a readable PDF. So if you prefer to read the course and you not listen to it, all of the transcribable lessons are in here so you can read it. I mean, the 48-hour Jumpstart program is a separate course and I included it in here. So if you want to declutter in a weekend, this is how you do it. It is literally everything that you need. And Kendra, so that the screen share stays up, I'm going to go over your course for you and just interject as I go. I'm just going to read it for them. This is Kendra's platform, okay? Homemakerish You. So she has her introduction. This is her introduction video. And then she has different modules as well. And as you click them, they expand into the lessons, okay? So your ideal day. This is an exercise where you figure out what does your ideal day look like? Dreams versus goals, the important differences. How to set SMART goals for yourself in your home. Goal progress and tracking that. And then let's get organized in a smart way instead of just rearranging junk we don't need. Decluttering, an organized mindset. Everything needs a home. Creating a family command center. I love that, by the way. Setting up systems for your home that actually work. How to maintain after you've cleaned and organized. And then here we have the what I think is like the gold module. How to elevate your cleaning routine. Okay, what exactly is a house cleaning schedule? What is your current cleaning schedule and why isn't it working? a look at the house cleaning master list, everything in the kitchen sink cleaning list. There's lists, there's videos, there's audio, there's everything you need in here, guys. There's weekly schedules, monthly schedules, cleaning schedules, cleaning supplies, her favorite cleaning tools, my favorite cleaning supplies, effective house cleaning methods, what to do when you feel defeated by the cleaning. And then she goes on to say the nitty gritty of actually doing the cleaning. And there's how-to videos, like literally how to clean granite countertops the best way possible, the glass stovetop, the stainless steel, dusting your wood floors, cleaning your wood floors, cleaning the bathroom sink with no cleaners, the basics of laundry. And then she goes into more detailed things for you, caring for yourself. Okay, there's a module for that. Planning your meals. I mean, she's literally covered everything. After you've purged and you've done mine, you manage your motherhood. You have to manage it afterward. And that's something that my course doesn't cover. This bundle fills in all the gaps left by each of our own courses. Owning your time. Okay, we talked about that today, and this is way, way more expansive. Okay, using Google Calendar, like specific tools you can do to maximize your mom time. How to get 27 hours out of a 24-hour day. Why traditional to-do lists don't work. A winning to-do list, time ownership strategies, how to batch your time and own your schedule. Okay, speed cleaning 101. So when you got to go fast, what do? Here you go. Involving your kids in home management, because it shouldn't all be on you. And then she's got some bonus lessons. And Kendra and I also both are always adding to our courses. When you enroll, you're in for life. If we up the price by $100 and we add 50 lessons, you get that at no extra cost. We honor our students.
Yes. And I just want to say that some of the bonuses that aren't in there, I'm super, super excited. But I've actually talked to a lot of other mom business owners in other areas that I don't, like, I'm not an expert in sleep training. I'm not an expert in like in-depth meal planning, where it's more of the strategy and like recipes and stuff, or self-care and, you know, like yoga and parenting, all of those things. So I've actually money. That's the other thing. I'm budgeting, a family budget. I'm actually already have those moms, and they're going to be doing guest trainings for me. And those are going to be in there. There's also a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, which I think is a huge part of it. So there's actually a whole community too. All supportive, all encouraging, no judgment. And yeah, so just wanted to add
absolutely.
That. Those are the bonuses.
And just so you guys can see, we're not going to waste too much time on this. We can always send you more if you want to see more. But we did include a few testimonials so you can see that it's not just us. My course personally has been taken by thousands of women all over the world. It's been translated in several different languages. It is the reason that we were on Good Morning America and all of these, the Jenny McCarthy Show and the Today Show, ABC News, all of these places are picking us up and talking about what I do and talking about this movement because it works, because it is realistic, because these women are changing their motherhoods, okay? So Julianne is one of my star students, and she says, Allie's course has been a blessing. I found that I have more me time. My 4-year-old will now play for hours, yes, hours, with less toys, by herself without a fuss. I truly credit the changes in my home and life to this course and the mind shifts I experienced while decluttering our home. And then here's just a couple of screenshots from Facebook. You guys probably know I've got a massive Facebook group with amazing women, all really working towards dramatically changing their lives. Danielle, I'll just summarize for you guys so you can read. But a clean, calm home to come home to was her favorite thing about this movement. Her relationship with her daughter has improved dramatically, okay? She feels a lot less mental clutter. That's a huge thing that I hear all the time that I experience. She's able to communicate her needs and thoughts better now that she doesn't have the heavy weight of a messy house on her chest all the time and a negative mindset. Amy says, I'm coming out of the constant overwhelm since beginning your Uncluttered Home course and beginning to enjoy playing with my kids, relaxed time with my husband in the evening, and overall a more peaceful home environment. Thank you, Allie. And for Kendra's, I'll read them so that the chat, the slides stay up. Tara says, Kendra is like a super fun, badass house cleaning angel. I have found a pretty good balance of cleaning and organizing and not caring, both which Kendra is lovingly supportive of. But there are a couple of spaces in my home that continue to drive me nuts and revolved around my daughter's favorite play spaces. After talking through some vulnerable and sensitive reasons why these areas continue to be a problem, Kendra held space for me to figure out what the issue is. Spoiler alert, it's me. No storage system or organization strategy could possibly possibly be more helpful than a chat with Kendra. And then here's a couple of screenshots for her too, of people just messaging her and just telling her like, you're amazing and you helped me so much. I just finished my cleaning schedules. I made one that has daily tasks on it and one that has the room of the day on it. And guess what? I get everything done Monday through Friday. Kendra, you're an amazing teacher and you're giving me the best thing ever, and that is my time. These important life lessons are not taught in school, and when we really only learn them through experience or people like you. I think we all just want to live our best lives possible. Okay, for you guys that are live today, this isn't applicable for those who attend the replay, unfortunately, just because we want to honor those who spent their time with us. There is a fast acting bonus. So if you enroll in this bundle before the end of the workshop, so before we get off with our Q&A and stop talking, if you buy the bundle before the end of the workshop, you get access to the recording of this workshop and the slides. So you'll have access to the workshop forever. And this isn't like, Kendra, do you want to tell them about how, Amy, this is not going to be something you can get?
I'm sorry, what did you say? I had the thing. Sorry.
It's fine. I was just trying to do.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's I think that this is so important because when people do workshops, they don't give access to the workshops. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like, that's it. Even if they do a replay of it later, it's not the same. You're not getting access. And especially since with the tech kind of thing and not being able to work out with the slides, you're actually going to get access to the slides. So you can see all of the slides and then you get access to it forever. And it's only for people who show up live and buy while we're live.
Exactly. Okay, so if you are one of those people who's just feeling like ready, okay? If you're just feeling like you're ready to finally get rid of all the clutter in every single room, closet, area, and nook and cranny of your house, if you're ready to systemize your cleaning so you don't have to think about it anymore, you're ready to stop panicking when someone texts that they're dropping by. That's the worst feeling ever. If you're ready to not feel embarrassed, but rather proud of your house and happy to invite people in at a moment's notice. If you're ready to stop letting your tasks own you and take up all your time. If you're ready to get out of the weeds in your life. And you will finally be caught up. This will happen. We show you the way, you do the work, it will happen. If you're ready to stop underestimating your abilities as a mother, stop cleaning up after their childhood and start being present for it, okay? And then we got your back. So let's talk about what you guys are probably all wondering and not beat around the bush. What is the investment here, okay? These are not the prices. This is the value. What is in your uncluttered home has been valued at over $900. What is in Homemaker-ish You has been valued at over $750. Okay, guys, there's 11 hours of content in my course. Okay, that shouldn't overwhelm you. It should excite you that there's so much in-depth help, okay? The total value of our courses combined is over $1,600. Okay, these courses are always available to purchase separately, okay, for over $300. But today we're really excited because we put it together so that gives those of you with a smaller budget a chance to get both, okay, for only $40 more than just buying one. Okay, so both courses for $197. Our courses are both $156, I think $156, $157 for yours separately. Okay, so for just $40 more than just picking one and buying it, you get both. That's amazing. Okay, so today you only pay $197, or you guys, 3 payments of $78. Like, it's insane. You can literally walk away with both of our courses for $78. We don't really do this. Workshops are exclusive for when we lower prices because our courses are so valuable. Okay, I'm going to, Kendra, will you talk about the checkout process while I drop the button for them?
Yes, sorry, I clicked the unmute and it didn't unmute. So basically you're just gonna go to, she's gonna put the buy now, you can go to it. It's just a checkout page. You enter your information and that's that. Then once you purchase it, you're going to get emails that send you how to get your login information, because Allie and I have 2 different, platforms where our courses are. They're 2 different courses. So it's very easy though. It's literally just like signing up for the course, and then that's it. And then you'll get an email and you'll be sent to my course and it'll say that it's free. It's a secret bundle. So that link, it's not like my course is always free. It's just that it's a secret link for you. You
We
sign
made it
in
for
there.
you guys, so you don't have to pay twice.
Yes. Yeah, so you don't have to pay twice. We wanted to make it super easy. Like, we're not going to put a bundle together and be like, hey, pay 2 different times. We want to make it really streamlined, super easy. So you'll just be sent to mine. You'll sign up for, if you don't already have a Thinkific account, and it's just login information. And then you will have instant, immediate access to both. Like, you could start tonight.
Yes. So when you hit the enroll button, you'll see this page here if it's up on the screen. You just enter your stuff. It's a little bit longer, asks for like your email and stuff, and then you just enroll, and then what Kendra said, you get instant access to both courses immediately. And if you do buy while we're on the workshop, then you will be sent the fast action bonuses within the next 48 hours. So the slides and the video of this. Okay, so going over one more time, just to be clear what you're getting. We called it the Rock Your Mom Life bundle, and it is both of our courses separately combined in a special bundle exclusive for this workshop. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, go ahead and ask them. I just want you guys to know, like, we're going to do Q&A now, but I just want you guys to understand, like, this is no pressure. Okay, we're not here to pressure you. We obviously just spent like 2 hours encouraging you and inspiring you and spending this time with you. We want your mom life to change. If that means going and trying to do this without the courses, go. Of course, like, please. But if you want the shortcut, if you want more help, if you feel like, you know what, I'm just sick of this and I want to take action, that's why we did this. Okay, we did this for you guys to have the natural next step in taking action in your lives.
Awesome. I want to answer a quick question. Well, we're doing Q&A, so it's not a quick question, but people have asked, what if I already have Allie's course? Like, they've already bought your course, which is awesome because they've already purchased your course. So then I will actually be putting out my version. So the only version of my course right now is with this bundle. My course you'll be able to purchase it in about a week or so. So that's just to answer that question. But kudos to you for already having Allie's course, because that's awesome.
So the way, though, I just want to say too, the way that this works, guys, I don't want anyone to think that it feels unfair. I make these free workshops available to everyone. I don't exclude my students. I want everyone to be able to come to these, because sometimes it just helps to like get re-inspired and like see our faces and like just, you know, refresh yourself by coming to one of these things. But you know, when you have my course, like, you have what you need. And trust me, I'm about to add, Kendra and I have been talking, and I'm going to be adding some of her things to my course as bonuses. And as a student, you will always get that. But you also need to understand, like, there has to be some exclusivity, and that this is the way the business part of it works, and that we're opening up this course to you because you already have the course and you already have, now you got to the free workshop. So we can't, like, unfortunately, we can't make it like perfect for everyone, please everybody. But no, like, our hearts are here. Like, our hearts are in this. And it wouldn't be fair to Kendra for her to like give her course just because, you know. So unfortunately, that's how this has to work. I used to exclude my students from these workshops, and I just felt like, that's not what I'm about. Like, I don't want to do that. There's no like secrets here or anything. And I want everyone to feel like they're constantly being inspired by me. And so that's why I always welcome everyone to these classes. And this is just like, it is my business, and there's a back end of that. And so sometimes there's little pieces like this that, like, oh, I wish I would have known. And, you know, we didn't know ahead of time we were going to do this. So I hope that makes sense, that we kind of have to, like, we want everyone to be inspired and helped, but we also kind of have to like have some kind of like, well, what do we do with this? We can't like solve every single problem. Am I making sense?
Oh yeah, totally. I completely agree. I kind of equate it to like, okay, you know, when you like movie trilogies come out, so like one comes out and then 2 years later another, and then 2 years later another, and then you like buy 2 of them, and then the third one comes out and they have like a bundle pack and it's like way less, and you're like, but I already have the first 2. It's kind of just like, well, you know, you got them and you got all that value for all that time. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from, but my course will be available to be purchased like at full price in a few weeks, in probably about a week. So, you know, there is that. I just wanted to let you know, and I will be emailing all of you too, because, you know, you signed up through both of us, welcoming you and letting you know what you can expect from my business. And I'll always have all of the updates, and I will definitely have like a special when I first put it out, because this is a new. Yes, where it's not full price. There is going to be a special. So it's still you're still going to be getting an amazing deal. So I've actually run this course before, but it was a boot camp. So this is based on boot camp, my mini course, which is the Elevate Your Clean routine, which is actually in this course, and one-to-one. So I literally took all these things and just jumbled it. I feel like I just cracked open my brain of the last 10 years of being a mom and owning the cleaning business and just like put it out there for everybody. So, and I am seeing questions about payment plans. Yes, the payment plans are once a month. So you pay $78 today, then you'd pay $78 in May, and then $78 in June. So that's how that works.
And I believe it just goes off of the, I don't quote me on this, but just to help you, I believe it goes off of the date that you do it.
Yes.
So it's like 30 days from, it's not like the system picks a random day and it's like actually in 2 weeks or anything. So, yes. And then, how much time do you have to pay? $197. Okay. This bundle is disappearing, you guys, in 48 hours. So there will be an email sent out to remind you of that with like a timer so you know the exact date, the exact time. But we can't, like, this is for us, like, we're taking so much less each than we would normally otherwise get. So we understand, like, we want to help people and like spread this, and to do that, you know, we have to change the pricing and collaborate, and we're so happy to do that, but we just can't do that forever because we would be stupid businesswomen. So so it expires in 2 days, and again there'll be an email going out with it, and we set a specific time because it made us, so there'll be a timer where you can actually see like how many hours you have exactly. So the bundle will be available until then, but the fast action bonuses where you get the replay of this class forever and the slides that go with it, if you have to buy while we're talking before we end the call. And we have a system that's collecting all of those people who do buy during that time.
Yes. And Sarah just said, so just to clarify, I purchased the bundle. So that means I'll always have access to the bundle. Yes, you will have, as long as you buy them, you will literally have access. So I always tell people, like, in a year, if our prices go up, if we add value and then it's $200, you don't pay any extra. Like, you bought it at this price, always, you will, as long as these exist, you will always have access. And no matter what we add, no matter how many bonuses, no matter what happens, you will always have access to it. So yes, great question. I know that
there's
that was
no like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that was always my question when I started buying like online courses last year. And yes, it's whatever you buy now is what you totally get access to. Yeah.
Right. And there's no cons.
I'm so happy there's people buying.
I don't want you guys to feel like there's any cons to buying the bundle.
No.
Separate. They're exactly the same. Actually, we added, like, we kind of tweaked them to where they were specific to this webinar. I know Kendra did. So actually it's just awesome. Like, she cleared some of her minimalism stuff so that you're not overwhelmed with so much talk of minimalism, and you're getting that from me, and then really focusing on cleaning in hers. So it's the same, like, there's nothing that you're missing. You're not going to be excluded from anything because we're taking less money each. That's not how it works. And please continue asking questions. We're totally transparent with you guys. We want you to feel confident. Okay, so let's see. What are we getting extra now versus within the 48 hours? Extra now, you get the replay of this video for life, as well as the slides for notes. This webinar is not going anywhere else after. Like, this workshop is exclusive, and it's disappearing because, again, like, we have to have exclusivity. Otherwise we'd lose a ton of money. But if you buy while we're still talking at all during the Q&A until we hit the end call button, you will be sent within the next day or two. You'll be sent the replay of this video and joint webinars in my course. I only put the ones I do by myself. So this will literally be like evaporated and gone. But for those who buy now, we will send you the replay just as a little incentive to be a doer and take action in your life and really make this happen. But we understand that some of you like need to talk to your husbands and you can't do that, and we totally get it. So that's why we have the 48 hours for the bundle itself.
Yeah. Amy, no, the Q&As aren't just about bundles. Like, you can, any questions you have, like whatever. We're
going to go down. Yeah, we're going to go down.
Answering the questions because people have them. What's with chemicals in your tutorial? Sometimes. I heard people talking about Norwex. I do not use Norwex. So I'm just going to be totally frank. I think they're a great product, but I use things, I'm not completely green on my cleaning, but I do have DIY cleaner, a whole tutorial on DIY cleaner. So you can do it without having to use chemicals. I do talk about that a lot. Like if you don't care about using a little bit of chemical, you can. Here's the alternative to it. Like I kind of show both sides of the coin. And I talk about how to DIY your own cleaner so you don't have to spend a lot of money. A lot of them are just things that you can get at a supermarket or that you already have at your house. And so that's how I deal with cleaning. I think Norwex is great. I just, for me, it's just, especially in my cleaning business, it was not an affordable option. I didn't feel, and I've had people talk to me about it before. So I just don't want anyone emailing me anything nasty of like, you should totally use it and it's great. And I know it is, it's great.
You can't please everybody.
No, you can't. So I've just used other alternatives and I talk about that in the course.
Okay. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, just to kind of respect people who asked a long time ago. Absolutely. And we'll just go from there. Okay. Eleanor said, my baby wakes up many times at night. So I'd love an alternative suggestion to waking up early for getting tasks done alone time. I'll just answer first.
Yeah.
Okay, Eleanor, you are not in a season for like having to wake up super early. Like there are such seasons of motherhood. It's your season is just trying to get all the rest you can. So take a load off of yourself and understand that there will be so many years where you can be productive and wake up super early and knock this thing out. But right now, like your baby's not sleeping through the night. I had started waking up early before I had Emmett, who's my last baby. Then when I had him, he was the worst sleeper I ever had and I was not getting any sleep. I full on stopped. I mean, I was as productive as I could be during the day, but I did not wake up early. You need to rest. Like this is your season for rest, girl. Okay. Next. Nicole says, how do you balance your time in the kitchen? I'm pretty good with decluttering my house. However, I feel like most of my hours each day are spent prepping food, cooking, candy, then cleaning up before the next meal. I'm a stay-at-home mom who also takes care of a few other kiddos. Kendra, you take that one.
So this was about the kitchen, like right? Sorry, my husband literally just texted me.
Simplifying the time spent in the kitchen because there's like all the things to do in there.
Okay, are we talking about cleaning or are we talking about cooking? Because they're two totally different things.
She said I'll go with prepping food, cooking, and candy.
Got it.
That's what she said.
And candy? Is that what she said? And candy? So my son is like a candy fiend. So that's what's really funny. I don't know why he is. But I think trying batching, sorry, my internet just dipped, is batching as much as you can. Also, letting your kids help. I am big on letting your children help. I don't care how small they are. Give them a job. Give your kids like a little bowl. You know what we used to do with my son? We would give him a bowl and put flour in it and then give him a spoon. He was doing. He was just stirring flour. That's all he was doing. But he felt like he was helping. He wasn't doing anything and he was helping. So it kept him occupied. Give him some give them like a bowl of water and like baking soda. Like let them just pour it. It'll make a slight mess, but not enough of a mess that it's going to cause like a lot of problems. So you can get your prep done while your kids are doing, what they're doing. Also, as your kids get older, involve them. Let them cut vegetables. Let them stir things. Let them get things out of the fridge for you. The more you involve them, the less in the way they're going to seem. So that's how I do it.
Yes, I totally agree. Okay, so Tara says, I've decluttered and I'm working on rhythms, but I'm having a hard time with work from home rhythms. I'll just touch on that super quick. But work at home rhythms were the same as household rhythms. There's a certain amount of things that absolutely must get done. Like remember Tim Ferriss, like gun to your head, what absolutely must get done. Don't mess with the other stuff. Also, working from home, I focus on like, okay, well, what is revenue producing tasks? Because that's what it comes down to, providing for my family. So my husband and I will sit together and like, okay, what are the revenue producing tasks? What must get done? And then systemizing those and then delegating what we can to other people and then having a day a week before we could afford to delegate to other people where that day of the week is for doing all the other things. So only systemize what like must get done. So like writing blog posts, contacting clients, whatever it is for you. I hope that helps. I'm just trying to keep it brief because I could talk about that for like hours.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashley says, with 4 kids, it just seems like even minimal is a lot because of the sheer number of people in our house. Tips on being minimal, even with a lot of people. I can't minimize the number of humans in my house. Ashley, I just feel like the number of people in your house really doesn't have much to do with minimalism because you're not focused on counting things. If you were doing the legalistic rule following way, then yeah, it matters because you're going to have a ton of stuff. It's all relevant for you and it's supposed to work for you. So for you, how many people do you have in your house? What do you guys need? You can be a minimalist with 25 kids. I actually have somebody in my course who has 12 children and she's rocking it. She's amazing. I've seen all different kinds of mothers, all different kinds of families do this. Don't let that be a crutch for you. Don't let it be a hiccup for you taking action. I just feel like you can, Kendra, anything else to add? I feel like it really doesn't matter. Like you can totally implement these strategies and it doesn't matter if you have 1 kid or 12.
Oh, I was just making sure I wasn't muted. No, I agree. I think that I'm with you. Sometimes I think we use it as a crutch. I've been guilty of doing that. Like after I had 2 kids, it was like, oh, I have 2 kids. And I'm like, right, but I know somebody who has 5 kids and they managed to do it. So I think sometimes it's just implementing these things. And I'm also big on delegating. So if you have 4 kids, in my opinion, that's 4 people to help. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's just, it's 4 more hands. Well, it's 8 more hands, but it's, more hands to help. Even if they're little, it's little kids, want to help. They want to be involved. They want to feel important. So instead of seeing them as like a hindrance and under your feet, just let them help. And it's 2 more hands that can help.
Totally. So Sarah's asking, how do you stay focused and on task? I struggle with just doing one thing when I feel like I see so many other things that need to be done. I feel like I halfway do tasks and never finish anything. Sarah, I kind of feel like we touched on this in the workshop, but honestly, again, gun to your head. What must get done? Like, I feel like I've said gun to your head 1,000 times in this workshop and it's creepy, but honestly, like you have to choose what must get done. Focus on those things. Kendra's talked about how not everything is a priority. I'm trying to bust through these so that we can get to them all. Yeah. But not everything is a priority. You have too many priorities. So clear that and focus. Make yourself focus. It's a self-discipline. Julia, how does owning less clothes mean less laundry? Well, there's less to wash. There's less clothes to physically wash. You may need to create some rhythms and do a load of laundry every other morning or something, but I'd rather do that than have the ability to build up a huge mountain of laundry if it takes up my weekend.
Yeah, I'm the same way. At less clothes, you have less mountains of clothes. You may have to do it more often. I think it's a catch-22. They don't understand that you have less clothes. Yes, you may have to do it more often, but it's small. If you only did a load of laundry of 6 shirts, then it's only 6 shirts to put away. That's
exactly. Oh, that's the same question. Okay, I need some advice for grandparents giving us too much stuff. We've had 1,000 conversations asking them not to, but it continues. I've started giving a lot away, but I feel bad about it. Why do you feel bad about it if you've had 1,000 conversations about it? You set up a boundary. You told them this is how we're doing motherhood. This is how we're doing our parenting thing. And they're still doing that. So that's on them. I don't anymore, but I had someone in my life that was doing that. And I said, I was honest. I wasn't a secret or anything. And so I just went ahead with it and was donating things as my kids were not playing with it. The kids didn't even care. And I told this person, finally they caught on. So you shouldn't feel, there shouldn't be things don't come with obligations unless you let them. So let that go. You warned them, you talked to them, you were honest, and this is not working for you. That's physically the time taking away from your kids that they're giving you this stuff. So you shouldn't feel guilty at all about being intentional with doing what you said you were going to do. Bryn says, it feels like I'm missing out on my kids' childhood with all the purging I have to do, settling from moving and taking care of my daily tasks in my marriage. I want to get to the other side fast. How do I make progress but not feel like I'm sacrificing people in my life? You sound like you're super busy, Bryn. Down to for you just off the top of my head, and Kendra chime in if you feel like I'm wrong or you have something else to add, but I just feel like you need to pick if you want to move through it fast or if you want to not sacrifice time with your family while you're purging. So you can just let this be a season of continuing the pattern that you've had of all the things taking up your time and just get it done and then be on the other side and calm down, or you can choose to move through it slower and have a set schedule of like certain times of the week where you work on purging and the rest of the time is for your family. You need to choose though. Like you can't have it all right now because you're not there yet. You haven't done the work to get there.
No, I completely agree. I'm the same. You have to choose which side of the fence you want to be on. And sometimes it means doing a lot of work up front to buy yourself back some time. And sometimes it means spreading it out throughout that time. But it's either way, it's totally okay. You just have to decide what's best for your schedule.
Yeah. Stephanie says, what about selling? Like a yard sale, or do you only do keep, toss, and donate? Yeah, I only do keep, toss, and donate because I feel like unless you're selling a bunch of furniture, it's really not worth it, or something very, very valuable. The time it takes to post something on a Facebook sale site or host a garage sale, and for somebody to actually comment on the thing and come and pick it up and actually give you the money and take it from your house is usually like a week. Garage sales are great. I had a couple of them when I was first purging. Totally great. Go do a garage sale. But when it's done, what's left goes to donate. Don't create excuses to hold on to your stuff. Okay, my kitchen is where I spend most of my time. I'm not sure how to declutter that. We don't have any dishes. What else can I do? That's a question that's answered in the courses in detail, but you need to go through and like, what do you really need to use? Do you really need 3 sets of pots and pans? Do you really need 30 mugs? Like you need to simplify and also like, it's not really about like, oh, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, so that means I need to declutter. No, you spend a lot of time in the kitchen because you're cooking for your family, and that takes a lot of time 3 times a day, plus snacks and cleaning. So it's not really, the kitchen is kind of an exception. If you feel like you can't declutter anymore, then maybe systemize, like in Kendra's course, like meal prepping and planning, like that aspect of it. What if your keep items need to go into a space that is already full of crap? That is my squirrel. Yeah, totally. Angie, I would say then you need to bundle those things together. Like, okay, I've got this big room that's full of junk, and this stuff that I just purged needs to go in my daughter's room, but my daughter's room isn't purged yet. Then don't do that room yet. Do the key rooms first and clear them of clutter so that you can bring stuff in. Also, if your stuff is that at that level, like I'm sure Kendra, you would agree, like then you need to be blocking out some serious time chunks, like maybe spending like a day knocking out 2 rooms instead of like an hour here, an hour there. Like you kind of have to be relative to what your mess is that you're dealing with how you would tackle this.
Yeah, if you're noticing that it's like almost like a hoarder situation where it's just gotten out of control, and you have to really focus on just tackling that project. And kind of even if you can get a babysitter or someone to watch your kids for that time and just get in there and get it done instead of like little by little, chipping away at it, it may just be better to do it all at once. Same with cleaning. It's the same thing. If you like have not cleaned a bathroom in you can't remember how long, then it's probably going to be beneficial for you to forget about everything else that day and just focus on the bathroom.
Okay. Ashley says, my 10-year-old daughter loves fashion and putting outfits together. How do I pare down her wardrobe so she can still be creative? Don't pare down her wardrobe, but teach her how to do laundry and put her in charge of washing the extra clothes.
Yes. My 10-year-old daughter does laundry. I will agree on that. She's done laundry for 2 years. I don't do any of her laundry. I don't take care of anything. I spent 2 months trying to teach her how to use a washer and dryer and how to do it. And after 2 months, it's bought me back 2 years of my life of not having to do it.
Kendra, I'd like to hear your answer for this question. I will give mine, but it's kind of, I don't really it doesn't really apply to me right now. But do you set limits on what you do for your family? Like 1 sport per kid, like 1 get together a week? How do you make sure you're spending time with extended family, making sure you're not overwhelmed and like cluttering your calendar? For sports and extracurricular stuff, for me, we're kind of like exempt right now because we are traveling full time in our camper, and nothing is very like, oh, we live here and we go to baseball here and we go to church there. Like everything is on wheels. So I'm not dealing with that right now. I have dealt with it a little bit, but my kids are so small that I haven't really had a chance to get to that like over busy calendar that so many moms do. But before Kendra gets into like extracurricular stuff, I will say that you need to get very intentional about your family time. If you want to have family time, you got to make it happen. No one else is going to do it for you. You're the one. You're the mom. You're the one. So do you want to have family time once a week? Great. Do that. Do you want to have extended family time once a month? Host a dinner. Like get intentional and answer that question for yourself by what you choose to bring in. Be the initiator, you know?
Yes, I definitely limit the amount of stuff we do. I say no often, just like I said. If I'm being very blunt, which Allie and I both are, so it's kind of like a take it or leave it with us, which I'm sure I saw someone say like they love it. And yes, some people love it, some people don't. But I feel like most people are involving their kids in so much because they're living vicariously through them. So they're trying to do all the things that they didn't do as a kid. I've seen it with friends of mine. Their kids are involved in literally every single sport and everything. And you know what? Those kids can't sit still for 2 seconds now. That's what they've been taught. They've been taught they always have to be entertained. They always have to be occupied. And I'm just not for that. So in our house, we have Girl Scouts. I'm a Girl Scout leader. And then my daughter runs. She doesn't really like sports, so she doesn't do them. My son's too young for them now. But yeah, we'll kind of pick one thing or two things, and then that's it. Like I'm not going to keep letting my kids do stuff just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, Allie, there's a lot of chat about an email you sent out about organizing your calendar. How can we access that? I just shared the link to a blog post that is basically the same message.
I'm going to answer one that's at the top because it's just super quick. I just signed in and only see Allie's stuff. Allie and I have two different, they're separate. So when you should be getting an email that will have my information, and you'll go to that site and you'll enroll for free, and then you'll be able to sign in, Sarah. So I just wanted to say that before.
They come in separately, and sometimes it takes a few minutes for the system to read you. Yeah. And of course, like if for some reason there's an issue, just hit reply to one of the emails and somebody on my team will help you. But yeah, they come in separately because they're not the same course.
Right.
Okay. I already wake up at 4 a.m. to work online from 5 to 8 every day. What would you suggest? I don't know what that question means to you.
I don't. I saw that earlier. I wasn't like if you're already waking up that early, that seems early enough for me. I don't know if she was like, I don't know if there was another part of the question, but yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, we'll skip that for now. How do you do that without waking up the entire camper? Well, since moving into a camper, it's basically like our whole family like snuggling up in a hallway. I definitely have had to adjust my schedule. But what I share with you guys is like what I did when I lived in a normal house because it's applicable for you. I'm sure there's not a lot of you traveling the country in a camper full time. But to answer your question quickly, I just adjust my wake up time and my work times. We just made some tweaks. I wake up a little bit later than I used to, like by 45 minutes. And then the kids are allowed to wake up earlier than they were allowed to get out of the rooms earlier. So just little tweaks, but I get my stuff done because my life is typically very different from everyone else's, where my husband's home all the time and we help each other, and I'm not the full-time kid watcher. So my life looks different. So I tweaked it as I adjusted, if that makes sense. But before, my kids were not allowed to come out of their room unless they had to go to the bathroom for breakfast until 7:38, and then I would get my work done in the morning. How do you make yourself get up earlier, go to bed earlier? Let me link to another blog post so that we can get to other questions. Kendra, you want to take another question? Because I have a blog post that literally answers that in like extreme detail.
Yeah, I'll answer a top question since I'm not all the way to the bottom. How do I get that early morning time when my early hours are already dedicated to working? All right, was this the same person who asked the question? I'm not sure. Allie may be able to talk about that a little bit more because my early hours aren't always dedicated to work. But it depends on how early you're waking up. So you have to decide. You also have to realize like it could be that you don't have early morning time. You may have later time. So maybe when your kids go to bed, that ends up being your special time. Like if you have to tweak it, it's totally okay. Like my dad worked nights while I was growing up. So our schedule was very different. We just had to adjust, and he had to adjust for that because he worked 11 at night to 7 in the morning. So if you already have a very early morning work time, try and schedule something either midday or maybe later at night when your kids go to bed, then that can be your time.
Okay. What about when you have babies that don't sleep till super late, like 1 to 3 a.m.? When do you sleep? My kids go to bed at 7:30, and that's the rule. Kendra?
Oh, I think she means if you have babies. Like she's talking about like if you have babies that
okay,
don't go.
I thought we were talking about like 10-year-olds that don't go to sleep till 3.
No, I think she was saying like babies. I think you and I have the same agreement on this. You're in a season of life that this is not the time to be worrying about that. I talk about that in my course too, about embracing the seasons. Yeah, you're in a season of life right now where you do not have to worry about getting up and doing the things you need to be working on, loving on that baby, getting you guys into a steady routine, which will happen over time. But yeah, embrace the season.
Do you think it's okay to have a room with things that you want to keep but that you're not using right now? Not a lot of things, but some. To have a room? No. But to have some
like
things
a basket, maybe.
yeah, like if you have some things that you are, you'll use eventually, but just not right now, then yeah. How do you organize pictures? Allie, I have so many from 3 kids, both school and work. Again, that's in the course, but quick answer, take pictures and save them. Don't save the actual things.
Yes. Scan them or take pictures. Yes. Digital.
Are both these courses audio? I'll let you answer yours, Kendra, but for mine, there's video where there needs to be, where I feel like you need to see my face, where I feel like I need to show you something. Like I have some screen shares where I'm showing you how to organize your digital documents on Google Drive. But otherwise, yes, they are audio because that works for mom life. We don't want you sitting at the computer staring at slides like this all the time. We want you to be able to listen while you go, listen while you do the dishes.
Yep, I'm the same way. So mine is audio. It's literally through a third party kind of thing, just because that's the way that mine is set up. So literally you click on the lesson, you click that link, it takes you to an audio, like easy. Some of them are video. Again, same thing. It's a screen share showing you how to use Google Calendar. I have a lesson about using Pinterest wisely, how to wisely use Pinterest to meal plan and not get falling down the rabbit hole of Pinterest. So that's a video, but most of it is audio so that you can pop it in your ear. I do speed cleaning lessons so you can literally be listening while you're doing it. Like you can pop it in your earbuds, put it on your computer, whatever, and listen while you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so somebody is saying, let's see, where did it go? Where do I buy the bundle? I'm sorry if I missed that. There's a button, an orange button that says enroll now, and I just shared the link for you guys again. Click one of those and it will take you to the page. What's the time limit on this if we need to discuss the purchase with our spouse? Again, it's 48 hours, and you'll be getting an email that is reminding you of the deadline. That's when this bundle will expire and not be available anymore. Same question. The bundle, but that means we'll always have access to the bundles, correct? Yes, both courses. In your reminder email, can you give a screenshot of the program so I can sell my husband? Lisa, actually, if you go to you can show him this replay, first of all, and you can show him how we scrolled through. But also, there is a breakdown of the entire curriculum on the sales page for the course.
Yep.
So yeah, you can literally show him like everything that's in it and how many hours of content. Also, if you go to alliecasazza.com and select course, there's a sales page that's like everything you could want to know. And I know Kendra has something similar.
Yes.
So you can send to our websites.
Yep. Let me, I'm going to go find the link and I will pop it in the chat for you.
Allie, what does your tattoo say? I don't know which one she means, but this one says then sings my soul. And this one is life is beautiful in Italian. Okay. What are we getting? Oh yeah. I blew through that kind of fast. Thanks. Okay. We already answered that. If you add something, we get that too when it's added. Yes. What if okay, we answered that. If you already have my course and you would like to add Kendra's, you can buy Kendra's separately when she launches it. Hers actually isn't even available yet. So you guys are not only getting the special bundle, but you're getting it early before anyone else can.
I will offer you guys a special. It won't be the same. So it won't be like, you won't be getting it for $97. It's just a special bundle like we were talking about. It's just sort of the nature of the way it is. But I will be offering a special just for people that came to this workshop, but maybe already had Allie's. I will give something special to you guys because
it's just not the same, like super awesome discount.
So yeah, but you'll be seeing that in your email in the next few days and you can purchase it.
If we don't purchase the bundle, will we still get a short replay of this webinar? Yes, 48 hours. You can watch it as many times as your heart desires. And I am assuming you're asking because you're going to record it, which ain't cool. How do you teach your kids the mentality of sentimental items that not everything can be special? By living it out yourself. And it's a process. My kids didn't just jump on that. My daughter was quite the opposite and now has just learned to be that way that's just what she sees. It's how our family is. And you know what? I think letting them let things be special and not telling them how to feel about things gives them the freedom to decide if they want something to be special or not. And also, there is an age, I want to say it's 5 and 6, that is like scientifically kids are very emotionally attached to everything. So if that's where your kid's at, like watch for that too. You've already answered the baby waking up early question. I feel like I'm so close to completing the process of decluttering, but find myself perpetually analyzing my space. How can I stop this and just move on? How do I enter maintenance mode? Kendra, you want to take that one?
Yes. I think you need to, at some point, you have to give up. Like, I don't want to say give up. That's the wrong phrase. At some point, you have to just stop and decide, like, this is enough for now, and I need to start maintaining it. I need to get into it. It's almost like, when you're losing weight, like Allie knows this, like, when you're losing weight and you have to get to a point where you're like, okay, I have to stop or I'm going to become obsessed. And we talked about this before of like becoming obsessed with things, where you kind of swing the pendulum. And so you kind of have to get into a point where you're not becoming obsessed with it and you just decide, like, I'm going to start maintaining it. The beauty of purging and of cleaning or setting up routines is that you can always go back. Like, if you start maintaining and you're like, listen, I'm still not happy, I feel like I'm still overwhelmed and I'm stressed, you can always get rid of more. But you don't want to live in a perpetual state of purging or a perpetual state of like getting to that next level, because you'll never get to the next level. You have to at some point choose maintenance over perfection.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So do you actually give us a cleaning routine, Kendra, or help us come up with one? I really struggle, so I'm hoping that this will help me.
I help you and show you exactly how to create your own cleaning routine. The reason I do that is that everybody's life is different. And so those, printable things you find on Pinterest are all well and good, except that my Mondays look different from your Mondays, look different from Allie's Mondays. So vacuuming on Mondays may not work for you. And so especially with kids and moms and stuff, I actually show you step by step how to create your own cleaning routine. And this has been and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, it's been a wildly successful course, like wildly successful. People getting results in 3 days, like taking the course, because it's a mini course in and of itself and you're getting it and then plus some. But yeah, listening to all the audios, watching the videos, and then literally implementing it and having a cleaning routine that's working within 3 days. So yes.
Okay, guys, I'm going to start going through these really quickly and not taking any other ones after this one that I'm marking here, because we'll be here like all night.
I know. We can answer questions all night.
Yeah. Okay. Where is all the things that didn't fit into your RV in a pod with all my furniture? Are there cleaning tools that speed up cleaning? My kids are young and not helpful. For example, lots of wood floors and sweeping them takes forever.
Yes, I talk about that in my course. I actually go over all of the tools and everything. But if you're talking about sweeping and stuff, get yourself a Swiffer. Don't use a don't use a broom. Brooms don't work. They just push stuff around. Get yourself a Swiffer with a microfiber cloth. Boom.
Yes.
Done.
Totally. How do you teach your kids to stay in the rooms to 7:30 or 8? And what age did that work? I went by my oldest. She was about 5 when we started doing that, 6-ish. And I could have done it sooner, but I just didn't know that I needed to do that. I did it by establishing the rule and giving them some freedom. Like, go ahead, use the bathroom, go ahead and go all in one room together and play. But you just can't come out and be expecting breakfast. Breakfast is at 8. So that's how I did that. Will you do a tour of your RV? I'm so intrigued. Yes, we are launching a vlog, and I've been waiting to tour the RV for that. I've done a few purges, and I still don't feel a big change. They seem like normal people clean-outs. Probably, Kendra, you add it in too, but I probably feel like she's not getting rid of enough stuff, like she's being a little safe.
Yeah, usually what happens when people are still feeling like they're not seeing a change is that they're holding back. I mean, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know this person, but I think sometimes they're holding back a little bit and not going all in. And that has to do with purging and cleaning. Like, they're just, or doing a schedule, like you're just not really going all in. And so maybe focusing on how you could make a bigger difference by going, all in.
Are there any resources on document organizing and photo storage? Yes. Google Drive, Evernote, Keepy. That's an app for storing your children's artwork. There's so many. What do you do with random things that don't have a home or piles of papers that need to be organized and stored? I already talked about papers. How often are you supposed to go through important papers? And you talk about those things in your course? I already kind of answered that. And yes, way more detail in the course. We're praying about moving and doing tiny living. Allie, how do you downsize your entire home? Do you have any tips? We've decluttered and donated over 85% of our belongings. What should our next steps be? Because we still have too many things. If you got rid of all that, that's awesome. We have a pod that we stored all of our furniture and things that we do not want to get rid of that we would like to see again someday. And I really like that. It's expensive to rebuy all your furniture. And we had like just finished decorating our house, like finalized it. We had just finished. So we had just spent like thousands of dollars on our home and I wasn't about to just get rid of it all. So just know like camping is like constantly being on vacation, like living in an RV is like constantly being on vacation. So keep the things you'd bring on vacation and leave everything else in a pod. You can always go back and get it. I decluttered and have my priorities clear. But at the end of the day, there's no time left for cleaning. Any idea what I can change to clean this mess? I already wake up at 4:30 to have time to study. Kendra?
So not to be too in this person's face, but if you don't have time to clean, then something else has to go. It's just priorities. So if you don't have time to clean, then you're going to have to delegate that to somebody else. So either hire a house cleaner or hire the girl down the street to watch your kids while you do, clean the house, something like that. I mean, something's got to give. I could fill my day up with a lot of things and say I don't have time to eat, but I make time to eat because I need to eat. So I realize eating and cleaning are different, but if you really, really, really don't have time, then you're going to have to delegate it to somebody else.
Well, that's what time ownership is.
Yeah.
Is taking ownership of
being
it.
Being the owner of your time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any advice for helping the husband declutter his sentimental stuff? Just the same advice we gave on you decluttering sentimental stuff. Items from a previous wife who passed away. You know what? I think that is such a heavy thing that he needs to be really ready. Maybe you guys could agree on a location for that stuff. And like I feel like, and I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I just feel like that would be totally him. And no, you're not heartless. That's very sad and a difficult situation. Any tips for donated items instead of selling them and letting go of the wasted money? Yes, just do it. That's great. Don't hold on to stuff because of that. You wasted money when you bought the thing. You did not waste money when you let it go. Finding time for self-care and health issues when I also have small children. Time ownership, I feel like, again.
Yep. I talk about that in my course too. How to care for yourself, as a mom. It's super important, way more important than moms give themselves credit for.
How long did it take you to purge your entire home the first time around? I would say about 6 months, and I could have done it way faster. I just didn't have a me guiding me through. When will the workshops be available to us? I just bought them. I will have to wait 48 hours till the deal's over. Will I get an email? You get access right away. You buy, you're in. You are in. So yeah, you don't have to wait at all. I just signed in and only see, we already answered that one. How do I get that early morning time? Okay, we already answered that. How do I make a command center when I don't have an entry? You want to talk about that since that's one of your topics?
Yep, I actually talk about that in the course. You can pick a space in your house that you get used the most. So if you don't have an entryway, that's actually how our old house was. We didn't have a mudroom. So we just put it in like the kitchen. Like the kitchen area, if you have a hallway that you can put it in. If you have a closet and you have a door, open up the door and put it on the inside of the door. So anywhere where you feel that you can put something, a command center does not have to be complicated. I actually talk about that in my course about simplifying it, how to do it. But anywhere where you're going to see things very often, just put it there. Yeah.
Okay, the two more questions and then I reached the one that I marked as the cutoff. How do I know what toys to purge when my son plays with everything a little bit and is really excited when he hasn't seen a toy for a while? Okay, well, we would all do that. Like we would all get really excited if there was something we hadn't seen in a while. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's purposeful and worth your space. So you got to make that decision. But kids will touch what's there. They're not going to like, oh, I'm not touching that because it's too many options, so I'm only going to touch this one. That would make it easy. It's not about that. Does that make sense? Like of course he will, because he's a kid. My kids go to Target and they ask for the stuff there still because they're kids. They're not robots. Like that's not the point. Like, what is his favorite? What would he say he wants to get rid of? What's intentional? What lines up with your plan for his childhood? It's about that. Obviously, my kids touched and played with the other things occasionally because they're there. Anything else to add to that? Does that make sense?
Nope, that makes total sense. There have actually been studies done on how the more choices people have, the worse their decision making becomes. So eliminate the amount of choices that your kids have and they'll choose better.
Yes, that there's a study, specifically one in Germany, if you guys want to Google it, that was really amazing. That's what made me like, wow, this is really something. Okay, where was the last question that I marked? I lost it. It like disappeared. Maybe the person unmarked it. Let's just go to the next one. I've gotten rid of most of the toys except the creative stuff, but now the art stuff gets everyone, makes a giant mess. So even if the grown-up stuff is company ready, it still looks like a bomb went off. What can I do? First of all, I feel like there's a difference between having a cluttered, messy house that you're embarrassed of and shoving crap in the closet when somebody's going to drop by, and having a home where your children are making memories and they're using the things that you've chosen to keep for them. There's a big difference there. You may walk in and my house may be messy, but it's messy because they're using and playing and living. That's different than like there's clutter everywhere and I literally can't even have a friend over without spending 2 days cleaning. So there's a difference there. Also, the art stuff, you need to confine it to a space and decide that this is the space I'm going to keep art stuff. And then when the stuff outgrows the location you chose, you need to declutter. So a twofold answer to kind of help with that situation.
Yep. I agree. We have a playroom and it's literally like the mud room and then the playroom. It's a very long room. And I like to keep it obviously clean. But if we have people coming over and my kids are playing, I'm not going to stop my kids from playing in the playroom or doing art projects because people are coming over. They know we have kids. So, you know.
Yeah, totally. Okay. You just changed my life. You wasted money when you bought it, not when you let it go. Yes, totally.
So true.
Okay, guys, we are good. We're going to go. We're going to go be intentional now that we spent all this time with you guys. But we love each of you. Thank you so much for showing up and letting us speak with you. Like doing this, and it just feels like a massive coffee date, and I love it. I love it so much. And we'll do more together, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.